धर्म में जो त्योहार के वक्त जो हालात पेश आ रहे हैं वो उस पर अपनी प्रतिक्रिया दे रहे हैं। कोई धर्म पर या कोई धर्म के त्योहार पर वैसी सा क्रिटिसिज्म नहीं कर रहे।
Tushar, do you want to come in on that point? Maulana Saab is saying that Mr. Owaisi is rather making a broad political argument. He's not attacking a particular religion.
You know, Anusha, what has become the trend in this country? To make a case for majoritarianism, that the government is somehow anti-minority, and using festivals and rituals as an excuse. Tomorrow, if it comes to crackers on Diwali, there will be someone who will get up and say, oh, this is the Hindu majoritarian way of silencing the minorities. If it's Holi, people are going to throw water balloons on the minorities. So this has become very lame. I'm sorry for the use of the word, but lame excuses to demean Hindus to make an excuse for a larger political argument. The government is blamed for being anti-minority every day in the sense of some larger political argument. But it's this government which is being elected state after state. It's winning election after election. The opposition may want to make a case that, oh, the government is not doing enough for the minorities, but the minorities are voting them back, especially after what we saw in Uttar Pradesh. So today, when Owaisi compares Kanwar Yatra with the demolition drive, this is just a desperate excuse to make a case out of absolutely nothing. I, for one, believe we should look at all festivals across communities, all customs, all rituals with the most respect, with the most love and care. But people like Owaisi are the ones who want to politicize even the basic of our festivals. That's what saddens me.
All right, Maulana Ali Qadri and Tushar Gupta, thank you both of you for joining us on the broadcast. Let's see how this political controversy plays out through the day. Well, here's another very important story. This is a shocking incident in Dakshin Kannada's Bellar village. BJP Yuva Morcha worker Praveen Netaru was hacked to death with lethal weapons by unidentified people on a bike on Tuesday evening. Severely injured victim was admitted to a nearby hospital and was declared dead at night while undergoing treatment. Heavy police deployment near the hospital is seen. Police has also registered a case and begun investigation in the matter. Meanwhile, various organizations have come forward. Their members started protesting late night in front of the district collector office demanding justice. Looking at the situation, the DG, IGP has sent notice to Dakshin Kannada District SP to enforce Section 144 across the area. Chief Minister has also condemned the attack and assured strict action against the culprits. We'll try and get you more details about the story, but as you can see in these visuals, on the spot, on the ground, the situation continues to be very, very tense. Various Hindu groups, organizations have come forward and protested against this killing that has happened. The person who was attacked was admitted to a hospital late night, but unfortunately he couldn't survive. The top police administration officers have also swung into action. You also have a reaction which has come in from the Chief Minister himself. The big challenge and the immediate challenge before the authorities would be to ensure that law and order is maintained on the ground. This was a BJP Yuva Morcha worker. His name was Praveen Netaru. He was hacked to death with lethal weapons. It was done by unidentified people. We are yet to figure out, the authorities are yet to figure out who exactly was responsible for this. As you can see in the visuals, massive protests started not just in front of the hospital, in front of the district collector office as well, demanding strict action against the culprits. We don't have any arrests that have happened so far. Heavy police deployment near the hospital. Police have registered a case and begun investigation. My colleague Harish is joining us on the broadcast. Harish, tell us more about the investigation and more importantly, the law and order situation.
Well, the law and order situation right now under control, but becoming a huge embarrassment for the BJP here. At least 3 of their leaders from the region.
Harish, am I audible to you? All right, we'll just try and fix that audio that we have lost with Harish. But as he was telling that, so far it is under control. But yes, pressure is building on the local administration to nab the culprits and figure out who exactly is responsible for this death. The police, as we told you earlier, has already registered a case and begun the investigation. My colleague Ritu is joining us on the broadcast, getting us more details on the story. Ritu, tell us more what you're picking, especially about the investigation.
Yes, as the case has already been registered in this and the investigation is on, so police is trying to understand all the angles that are linked to this particular incident. They are understanding whether he had a personal enmity or whether it was anyways linked to the political enmity, because as he was an active member from the BJP Yuva Morcha and was been seen often in all the programs and the celebrations. So the police investigation is up on all these angles to check what exactly was his has been his personal relationship with the relatives, or for that matter with the other workers or from the other organizations that he was surrounded with. So there are all that angles that the investigation is on, and as well the police is also checking, because this incident which took place was very close to the Kerala border. So police is also seeing whether from which direction did these assailants actually entered that site, and how did they even attack, what exactly had happened, because there had been a similar incidents in the past as well that were being reported from the coastal district, as there were a lot of communal violence that we are getting to we have always seen from the coastal district. So there have been such incidents previously as well. So the investigation is also on to see that whether this incident that took place was similar to the previous incidents as well, and who were all linked to it. His phone calls will be checked, his messages will be checked. So all that of investigation is on. But right now, as in, the big challenge for the police is to ensure that the law and order in the district is in the place, because this has become a very serious issue, where you see now the pro-Hindu organizations in fact turning back to the BJP party, and they are demanding justice of one side, and the
Ritu,
other side
can you also tell us a little bit more about the background of this incident, a little bit more about the victim? What was the background of the incident? Any preliminary details that have come out in the investigation? Would it be correct to call it a hate crime?
Yes, see, you have CM Basuraj Bommai himself saying that this seemed to be a completely pre-planned incident, of course. So the investigation as that is on can only reveal what exactly has been. And but for the police, as what we are picking from our sources is also that the top police sources are also saying us that in a very primary investigation as well, we will need some time to in fact track his phone calls and messages. We'll have to speak to the family members and relatives as well, because right now the whole family is in a sorrow. They are grieving for the loss that they have lost one family member right now. So this is not a right time as well for the family, for the police also to go up and speak to the family members. But of course, of all that, the last rites that will be conducted, and later point is only when the police will get to know all this, because of course the primary phase right now is also to speak to the family members, because only they would know exactly where exactly he was going, whom all he had met previously, whether he came back home and had any time told about any incidents that he had, or any kind of altercation that he had with someone, or any threat calls, or whether that the threat
Ritu,
words
as you pointed out, that the Chief Minister himself said that this looks like a pre-planned conspiracy, and there could be an element of hate crime as well here. Was he receiving any kind of threats? I know it's difficult to say anything at this point in time because the investigation is still underway, but any details that your sources have indicated to you?
So, what police is also saying in this is to understand this particular point in a more clear manner is the first thing, that they will have to speak to the family members, the close one, especially the wife, because he was of course newly married, and it's been just a couple of months that he was married, and used to spend time most of it with his friends as well, and the relatives too. So the police says that first thing that they will have to try and speak is to the family members, which right now is not a right time to speak as well for them. But the other side are also the phone calls that the tapping will have to take place, and you see the the Yuva Mocha other members as well, with whom he used to go and spend more time, and what kind of activities he was involved in. So these are all the things that the police will have to check, and only then will be able to bring out what exactly had been beyond this whole case now. Because of course in the coastal district we had previously seen, whether it is a Chandra or Harsha murder case, or 2017 in Sharad case as well, there has always been such sort of one or the other way there has been a similarity as well, because usually all these incidents had taken place in the coastal district when when someone had found the area very silent and no one around. So this is not something of a new sort of an incident that the police also has to say, but one thing that the police is pointing out that there had been similar incidents of how this exactly the act had taken place.
Ritu, in earlier instances as well, when we have seen hate crimes of this nature, he had also slammed beheading calls and he's murdered a month later. Clearly, this also points out to a larger conspiracy that may be working. that the Chief Minister also spoke about. We remember that the incident that had happened in Udaipur, and post that there have been multiple instances that we have seen. Praveen had backed Kanhaiya earlier. These are the Facebook posts, public posts that he had put out. Was he receiving any kind of threats? Do we know anything about that?
See, now all this is, of course, to the police to investigate and to check of where exactly things had gone wrong, of whatever his social media handles have to speak, or his phone calls will tell out to the police, or the messages or the words as well. So now this is all to the police to investigate and bring out. But of course, of all the messages that have been circulating right now on the social media handles, where it speaks somewhere around, as you are pointing out, is of course for the police now to check on all this and to identify where this how did this whole incident occur, or whether previously as well he had got some kind of a threat notes, or from that the threat messages, in fact, over a calls or by words. So this is something on the investigation to bring out, but there are a lot of speculations as well in this incident, but for which now the CM Basuraj Bommai also had clearly stated that right now to speak on this whole incident early would be wrong to speak, but of course this will all come out only after the investigation. So we will have to wait for some time, because as said, family is right now grieving, and the police are also,
and the situation on the ground, we can see in the visuals input, is also very, very sensitive. My colleague Harish is also joining us on the broadcast. Harish, the preliminary investigation details that you're picking up, what is the background? This is a hate crime, a pre-planned conspiracy, as the Chief Minister pointed out. What are the other details you're picking up?
Well, information coming in now suggests that the police suspect that this could be a retaliatory attack that has happened on Praveen, and they are now suspecting that there could be a team that's worked on this killing, as you rightly mentioned, a pre-planned murder that's happened. 6 teams now on this job, police teams on the job to close in on the assailants. There are multiple angles being probed. 2 teams, we understand, at the Karnataka-Kerala border on the ground, pursuing some very specific leads. At the same time, there is another team that's going through the mobile phone tower location dump taken from the area of the crime, and that is being probed by a team of specialists who are dealing with technical data that comes in during such crime. And there's another team of Bellary police who are right now going through the CCTV footage from the area. So the police trying to gather all these details, and whether it's technical details or CCTV camera visuals or on ground policing that needs to be done to nab these assailants, all that being done right now.
Harish, you used a word, retaliatory killing. What does one mean by that? Would it be correct at this point in time to conclude that this directly has a link to what happened in Udaipur?
Well, it's not being linked to Udaipur. That's something that's becoming clear now. They are suspecting the initial area of interest in this investigation right now is that they're seeing this as a retaliatory killing based on a killing that happened in July in the same area. And this was more of a local issue over there that's happened. Right now, although the police are just suspecting this, nothing concrete, but the investigation is focused on a retaliatory killing based on a killing that happened in July. A man was attacked, one Masood was attacked, and he later succumbed to the injuries on 21st. And he's a man from Kasargod, but was killed in Karnataka. And that is something that's being seen as an area of suspicion now. It's being suspected that this could be a retaliatory killing for that. And that's the primary area of this investigation right now.
That's the primary area of this investigation right now. There are certain Facebook posts of Praveen that have come to light, various things that have been said in the public domain. We are well aware of the situation on the ground. Harish, we are playing out these visuals. What is the sort of pressure that the local administration is facing right now, especially vis-a-vis the law and order situation?
Well, thankfully, the law and order situation hasn't got out of hand, although you can see a massive crowd that has gathered at the Bellary town there. In fact, it's an embarrassing moment for the BJP over there. Several of their leaders from the region, whether it's Sunil Kumar Angara or Nalin Kumar Katil, the state BJP president, all of them being get out, not being allowed to move. And there is anger among the people over there. It's now being targeted towards the state government, saying that we have a BJP government in the state and they haven't done anything to ensure the safety and security of Hindu workers. And we are seeing repeated such crimes against Hindu workers, and the government hasn't done anything. And the pressure is mounting on them, and that's the reason you saw that there was anger that was directed towards Sunil Kumar and other ministers from the government who landed there. In the morning as well, the family was very vocal, saying that he shouldn't have entered politics, and despite a good 12 hours after his killing, we haven't seen any leader coming over there. So clearly they do not bother about the health and welfare of normal party workers, and nobody should enter politics. So the BJP in a bit of pressure right now here, and that's the reason specific orders sent out to the police to ensure that these assailants can be nabbed as soon as possible.
Harish, before I go to Ritu, a very brief point I want you to talk about. This particular village in Dakshin Kannada, does it have a history of political violence? Have we seen earlier instances as well? Because you point out to the incident, or the entire possibility of a retaliatory killing. This only shows that political violence has existed in this village.
Well, political killing is not specific to a particular village there. It's something that we have seen in Dakshina Kannada and Mangalore area. There is rivalry between the BJP and the other right-wing affiliate organizations, and then you have the PFI and the SDPI on the other hand. We've seen these killings happen time and again. Prashant Pujari, Paresh Mesta. Recently, we've had Harsha being killed in Shimoga. We've seen this happening, and this perhaps could be a part of that whole series that's happened, a retaliatory killing. But what one needs to see is whether there was any past rivalry between these two gangs, or whether they were in fact gangs, or whether these were one-off attacks that happened and then a retaliatory attack. Perhaps this will become clear even as this investigation progresses further through the day. But right now the police is saying that they have some very specific leads that they are working on.
Mr. Vivek Reddy from the BJP is also joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Reddy, thank you so much for speaking to us. A difficult situation for the local administration, but this murder clearly has sent shockwaves and a lot of questions over the manner in which law and order enforcement is working in the area.
It is very unfortunate it has happened because of the influence of Kerala. A lot of people have come in from Kerala, executed the murder, and then they have gone back into the borders of Kerala. I think this sort of development is very dangerous. Though the law and order in the state of Karnataka has been good, there are incidents like this which must be curbed, and the police authorities must take serious action.
Mr. Sanket Yanagi of the Congress Party is also joining us. Sanketji, thank you so much for joining us on the show. How do you see this incident? Because there are massive protests that have erupted on the ground.
I condemn this incident, and this is the reflection of the law and order problem in the state of Karnataka. This is the failure of the law and order maintenance by the state of Karnataka, and BJP has utterly failed, and it itself has to be blamed, and no more else. And this is how the party in power is not even giving protection to the common man. Forget about the other things. Basic amenities are not available, so infrastructural problems are otherwise. But even the law and the person's life is not at the safe hands in the state of Karnataka. This is what is condemnable. The Home Minister has to resign. This is not the first incident which is happening in the state of Karnataka. Home Minister Aragadnyanandra at least now has to resign, or he be sacked immediately by the governor of the state in case he doesn't resign.
Let Mr. Vivek Reddy respond to that. Mr. Reddy, a serious law and order situation. You were right in pointing out it's an unfortunate incident, but your opposition party is raising direct questions on the efficiency of the Home Minister of the state.
Well, I think there is a question which I have to ask my dear friend, who is my colleague advocate also. Dear friend, he's a friend, and we are friends at the bar also. First, we'll have to answer as to why during Siddaramaiah government about 2,000 cases of SDPI have been dropped. And these are for the most heinous offences. They have been dropped as if they were simple political cases. When they have provoked and encouraged people with a terrorist mindset for their cases to be dropped. Imagine what sort of a sentiment or a mood that they are influencing in the society. They're allowing poisonous elements to take hold of society. And what right do they have to talk about law and order situations? I think they are the prime accused, the Congress, for having caused such a situation. It is that sort of a mindset that today is destroying peace in society.
Mr. Reddy, most of the Hindu groups have traditionally aligned with the BJP in most part of the country, including Karnataka. But this time, what we are hearing from the ground is that the local Hindu groups are very, very angry with the administration and also with the BJP and the manner in which this entire case has been handled.
Well, I think the government has done, has gone to, the intelligence structures within the government are quite strong. The safety and security of citizens is good. The problem is that there are such incidents, but these are targeted incidents by elements from outside the border. Therefore, the Kerala state situation is also equally to be blamed. There is fomenting of violence there. There are cells there, sleeper cells in Kerala. I think this is an interstate problem, and we should ensure that Kerala also takes appropriate action.
Sanketji, the argument made by Mr. Vivek Reddy is that your government did not take necessary action, and that is why there is a worsening law and order situation. These kind of elements were given much encouragement during the Congress rule, and hence this situation.
Our government and its period was over in the year 2018 itself. Thereafter, the BJP is in power in one or the other way. And now the BJP is in power, and recently Harsha incident we have seen in Shimoga in Karnataka. And also one of the similar incident has taken place in the state of, in the Belgaum district. And this is third or the fourth incident which is happening in the state. So this shows how poor they are in administration. This is administration has gone to dogs, and purely it is a failure on the part of the government in not giving safety. Forget about the other community, even to Hindus, it is not giving any protection. What right they have got to claim any vote on the basis of Hinduism or Hindu Rashtra? Nothing. They are totally so pathetic that the people can't trust the administration and the safety measures which has been claimed to have been taken by the state of Karnataka. It is totally untrue. It is a 40% commission government. It has failed. It is concentrating only on wealth management and corruption.
And Mr. Vivek Reddy, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the broadcast. We're also getting some breaking news on this development. Let's go to that. Now, the DGP Praveen Sood has been summoned by the Chief Minister. Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai, CT Ravi and Home Minister are currently in a huddle. This is a meeting which is being held to take a review of the law and order situation and also about this particular case. Harish will tell us more about the story. Harish, tell us more about this meeting.
Well, the BJP is currently under tremendous pressure here in Karnataka with several of their party functionaries at district level now resigning, others gerawing senior ministers of this government. Somewhere the BJP is rattled. The Chief Minister, just a while ago, you had CT Ravi meeting Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai over this issue and conveying the kind of sentiments on the ground, especially of the workers belonging to various Hindu outfits. And in the backdrop of that, first Home Minister Araga Jnanendra was summoned. Right now we understand DGP Praveen Sood might be meeting the Chief Minister in the next few minutes or so at the Chief Minister's residence to try and assess where this entire investigation is heading, how soon these assailants can be arrested, because on two counts the Chief Minister would be worried. One, on the law and order issue over there. Second, what this means for the BJP as well. Remember, there are vocal calls now by BJP members and other members of the affiliated Hindu groups saying that we've always worked for the party. What has the party done for us? We are in the government for the last 2-3 years. Now, they haven't ensured that our security is taken care of, we are safeguarded, and this atmosphere doesn't exist, and that anger is on the streets there now. In fact, Sunil Kumar Angara and party president, state president Nalin Kumar Katil, all of them facing that wrath of these party workers as well as various other Hindu organization members. So on two counts, the Chief Minister and this government under pressure, and that's the reason you are seeing some meetings that are happening right now even as we speak.
Harish, stay with us on the broadcast. Ritu is also with us on the show. Ritu, could you reiterate for our viewers the statement that has been made by the Chief Minister so far, where most importantly he said that this is a pre-planned conspiracy, this is not a one-off incident that has happened, and what are the preliminary investigation details that we can share with our viewers?
Yes, the first thing that CM had pointed out saying is that this is completely a pre-planned crime that we had witnessed. But of course, he had said again that the Home Minister has been asked to take care of this whole situation and in what is happening in the coastal district and ensure that the law and order is in place. So that's something that the CM Basavaraj Bommai had made it clear. But he has also said that the party has taken this issue very seriously and the investigation is on and to check what exactly had been the situation right now and the other angles as well to this particular story. But as he said that because this is an incident that took place very close to the Kerala border, so there might be other angles as well probably. So that too must be probed. So this is all to the police. But of course, as the situation continues, this seems to be worsening for the BJP party only because now the workers of BJP Yuva Morcha are also turning back to the party and are demanding their security because this is not one or two incident that the coastal district had witnessed, but previously as well, whether it is about Harsha, Chandra or Prashant cases, but there have been a lot of cases that had been reported from the coastal district. But this becomes even more major because in just couple of months, in fact, that we have seen in such incidents occurring even despite the BJP party being in the rule right now. So that is the major point that has been made from the Yuva Morcha workers, the BJP workers too been questioning about their security, and now you see all going back to the BJP party, and there is a pressure that has been mounted on the party right now.
All right, going back to my colleague Harish Upadhyay, who continues to be with us on the show. Harish, the gentleman from the BJP, Mr. Vivek Reddy, said that there are a lot of illegal elements or anti-social elements from Kerala as well, and this is an interstate problem. Could you tell us more about this angle?
Well, one aspect that we see every time there is some bit of a violence that we witness in Dakshina Kannada or Udupi or Mangaluru is that a lot of these miscreants could be from across the border, from Kerala, and they come over here and create ruckus or indulge in these activities. Now, two aspects here that one needs to talk about. One is that at many times it's an issue that has kind of been brewing for a lot of time, and the police probably failed to anticipate this. For example, in this case, the preliminary suspicion is that this is a retaliatory attack after Mr. Masood was attacked on 19th. He succumbed to his injuries 2 days later. After that, this retaliatory attack has happened. Have the police now failed to anticipate this? This is a pattern that everyone has witnessed in Dakshina Kannada. It's something that's easy to anticipate. So did they fail to anticipate and ensure that relevant measures are put in place? Second, in many of these cases, we've seen that this trouble actually is from people in the locality. It's between two groups over there. And once again, it comes to the local police to ensure that they deal with it. In not every case have we seen people from across Kerala walking over and creating ruckus. There have been a few
Harish, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you for a second. These are the visuals coming in from the village, from Puttur, and you can see the family members of Praveen, who was hacked to death. Clearly, they are inconsolable. It's a very, very difficult time for the family. Let's try and listen in if the family members have to say something. Those are the visuals coming in. All right. Well, so far, the family members are yet to issue a statement or say anything in public. The police is investigating the matter. As my colleague Harish is pointing out, there are multiple angles from which the story is being looked at by various teams that have been formed. Let's try and listen in. Those are the short reactions coming in from the bereaved family members of Praveen Netheru. He was hacked to death with lethal weapons. My colleague Harish and Ritu continue to stay with us on the broadcast. Harish, you were pointing out to the multiple angles, and especially about the Dakshin Kannada region and how certain organizations from Kerala allegedly are active in this area.
Well, that's been something that the state government has pointed out time and time again. But to be fair, you've seen some of these murders in fact happening, and those assailants being from the same region. For example, whether it's Prashant Pujari's case, or in the case of Harsha in Shimoga, or Parish Mesta, and several other cases that have happened in Dakshina Kannada and surrounding districts, we've seen it being more of a local political rivalry that has led to that killing, something that the local police have easily anticipated, not something that the government or the police can say that this has now become an interstate issue.
These are the live shots from Puttur in Karnataka, and you can see that police has resorted to a mild lathi charge on some people who were protesting. Section 144 is in place, and as Harish and Ritu have been reporting that so far the situation is under control, but the local police administration has to make sure that the situation does not go out of hand. More importantly, keeping in mind that this is a very sensitive matter and there are multiple angles from which the police is probing the case. We just told you a few seconds ago that DGP Praveen Sood has also been summoned by the Chief Minister. Chief Minister Basuraj Bomai, C.T. Ravi and Home Minister are currently holding a very important meeting on this issue. Going to my colleague Ritu, who's also with us on the show. Ritu, there is heavy police deployment. Tell us more about the organizations which are protesting, and how is the local law and order machinery ensuring that the situation doesn't go out of hand?
Yes, just right after this whole incident took place yesterday in the evening, the situation has somewhere been, we had seen the unrest in that particular locality. So that's when the police took this, incident whole seriously, and you get to see a heavy police deployment, whether it is about the hospital where this body was, and then the later point as well as at the home. So now there's a heavy police deployment at the hospital near his place, and also in the Dakshin Kannada as a whole, because the Hindu organizations are all up in arms and are being, in fact, too angry against the BJP leaders who have turned up to meet the family members. And you can see the in the visuals as well that how much angry they are, questioning their security despite of a hard work and continuously being part of the party's work and the programs as well. So this is what they get in return, is the kind of a question that the BJP workers and the Yuva Morcha members are also questioning, because in the Chikmagaluru too we saw almost around 30 BJP Yuva Morcha members resigning, questioning their security, because now they say, despite of a BJP party being in a role, how is that such incidents are taking place, and where exactly is the security, and how do they even continue to work for the party, because in the coastal district this has become a major issue right now. So because as pointed out, we've been speaking on this incident continuously. It's not one or two incident, but there has been a severe in fact many incidents that have witnessed in the past as well, and majorly the pattern that how this incidents have taken place have been somewhere or the other where similar. So this is something is on the ground, but of course the police deployment is heavy right now to ensure that the law and order situation is under control, and there's
Ritu
no
and Harish, continue to get us all those details. We are playing out this reaction coming in from Praveen's father.
ಇನ್ನು ಮೇಲೆ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ ಬಂತು, ಇನ್ನು ಮೇಲೆ ಹುಡುಗಿಯರಿಗೆ ಸಾಧಿ ನಡೆಯಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಸಾಧಿ ನಡೆಯಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಒಂದು ತಿಂಗಳು, 2 ತಿಂಗಳು, 3 ತಿಂಗಳು ಅದು ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹಾಗೇನೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಇದು ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಅವರಿಗೆ ಏನು ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅದು ಕೊಡಲೇಬೇಕು.
That's Praveen's father asking stringent action against the assailants who killed his son.
Well, that's the reaction coming in from Praveen's family. That was his father. My colleague Harish Upadhyay and Ritu will continue reporting on the story. This remains our top focus. We are slipping into a very short break.
witnessed in Tonk, the road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding in Rajasthan is because the rivers across the state seem to be in spate.
Due to torrential rains for more than a week, water levels in rivers have increased. This man was trying to cross a bridge, but the water was flowing so fast that he got stuck. Thankfully, some locals rushed in and managed to rescue him. Almost all the dams in the state are full, and authorities have been forced to open the gates and release excess water. But many are making the most of the situation and enjoying the abundance of waterfalls in Rajasthan. Still, authorities have warned people to be careful because the current is strong. The Met Department has predicted more rains in the state for the next 2 days.
Meanwhile, amid the ongoing Amarnath Yatra, heavy rains around the holy cave triggered flash floods, but an alert was sounded immediately and more than 4,000 pilgrims were safely evacuated. Just earlier this month, flash floods had triggered by heavy rain struck near the shrine, killing at least 16 people. There's some frightening footage from a busy road in Shimla which shows a speeding truck ramming into several cars. The truck driver appears to have lost control of the vehicle. He swerved towards the right and collided bang into the middle of the vehicles. The impact is so strong that the boundary wall of a building is completely smashed. It is unclear, though, if there were any casualties as a result of this accident. The mega 5G spectrum auction has gotten underway and the bid amount exceeded 1.45 lakh crores on day one. The bid is for 72 gigahertz of radio waves. It is worth 4.3 lakh crores. Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel are among the 4 bidders right now. 5G networks will open 10 times faster than 4G. A phased rollout is expected by September. In fact, 7% of India's smartphone base currently is 5G enabled. Torrential rains have also led to some daring rescue operations, this time in Madhya Pradesh.
This tractor was crossing a bridge in Betur, but got submerged in floodwaters. Some locals saw the plight of the tractor driver and threw a rope towards him. He managed to grab it and was pulled to safety. In Sehor, 6 laborers were trapped in rising floodwaters. A mammoth rescue operation lasting hours was launched to bring them to safer ground. A bridge in Sehor collapsed due to heavy rains, leaving several trucks and other vehicles stranded.
There's a big breakthrough in the Bengal SSC scam probe. According to the Enforcement Directorate, they claim to have found a black diary at the home of the arrested Minister Partha Chatterjee's aide, Arpita Mukherjee. The diary reportedly belongs to the Department of Higher Education and School Education. It has details, supposedly, of cash transactions which she was maintaining. And the probe into the SSC scam is getting bigger. The Enforcement Directorate has summoned TMC MLA Manik Bhattacharya for questioning tomorrow. Bhattacharya is the ex-president of the West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. The ED has already searched his home earlier this month. In Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua district, dozens have been left stranded because of incessant rains.
This group was stuck beside a river. A team of SDRF personnel tried to reach them on a boat. The river was flowing with such force that the ropes were tied to the rescue boat to prevent it from being swept away. The SDRF personnel managed to reach the group and brought them to safety. 4 women got stuck in a field due to rising floodwaters, but the Jammu and Kashmir police and a team of SDRF personnel carried out a daring rescue operation and successfully brought them out. 1 person was seen getting washed away while crossing a flooded road. After getting alerted by locals, police and SDRF personnel rushed to the site to rescue him.
Is India at the risk of slipping into a recession? Here's what a Bloomberg survey of economists says. Right now, according to them, there is zero probability of India slipping into a recession. Experts say that the global impact on India will be moderate. In the short term, Sri Lanka has an 85% probability of going into recession. In fact, all of Asia, the Asian continent, has a 20 to 25% chance of slipping into recession.
Welcome back, and we continue to keep our top focus on that disturbing incident which has been reported from Dakshin Kannada. As we told you that the Chief Minister has already taken cognizance of this entire incident after a BJP Yuva Morcha worker, Praveen Netaru, was hacked to death with lethal weapons by unidentified people on a bike on Tuesday evening. There is Section 144 that has been enforced in the area. There's also a high-level meeting that has been called by the Chief Minister along with the Home Minister and top police officials to take stock of the situation. Multiple angles are being probed. Just a few minutes ago, we played out that reaction that came from Praveen's father as well. He recently had gotten married. We'll try and play out the reaction we have from his wife also. But the situation on the ground continues to be very, very tense and sensitive. As you can see in these visuals, there are multiple Hindu organizations that have come out on the streets and they are protesting. They're demanding answers from the administration. Harish Upadhyay and Ritu continue to be with us on the broadcast. Harish, tell us more about this meeting which is being held by the Chief Minister. But before that, I want to play out this reaction coming in from the family.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಈಗ ಊರಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಹುಡುಗ ಅನ್ಸ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಕಾರಣ ಆಯ್ತಾ ಅಂತ
ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ತಮ್ಮನಿಗೆ ಕಷ್ಟ ಕೊಟ್ಟವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಣ್ಣೆದುರಿಗೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಆಗಲೇಬೇಕು ಸರ್.
ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಮೇಡಮ್
ಸರ್ಕಾರಕ್ಕೆ ಅದೇ ಒತ್ತಾಯ ಮಾಡುದು ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಇನ್ನು ಬಾಕಿ.
My colleague Harish Upadhyay continues to be with us on the broadcast. Harish, the family, as expected, is inconsolable. I think Praveen had recently gotten married. But what has been the word from family so far? What have they told the police authorities? Any details that you have?
Well, the family is obviously shattered. As Praveen's sister was pointing out, they are not even in a state to talk on what to say to the government. Perhaps in the next few hours, once the last rites of Praveen is over, the police would be talking to the family to find out if there were any specific threats. Did he have altercation with anyone? Did he report any suspicious approach or calls? This will be part of the investigation, but right now, at least in Bellary, the focus is to ensure that the last rites happen without any problem, and the law and order doesn't get out of hand. This is what the local police is doing. But 6 teams of police also working on the investigation. Remember, some very specific leads being pursued by 2 teams at the Karnataka-Kerala border on ground. There is one team that's going through the CCTV footage. There's another team consisting of technical experts who are going through the cell phone tower location dump from the area of crime. That is being also corroborated. In the meanwhile, teams on ground as well as technical data being gathered to ensure that the police can nab these assailants as soon as possible. The pressure on the police is the government and that on 2 counts it is facing a map.
Harish Upadhyay and my colleague Ritu reporting from the ground. This is a BJP Yuva Morcha worker, Praveen Netaru, who was hacked to death yesterday evening. He was severely injured. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he was declared dead. After his death, massive protests broke out outside the hospital in the native village, demanding strict action by the police authorities. We also heard a statement coming in from the Chief Minister himself, who has called this a pre-planned conspiracy. There are multiple police teams which are investigating this case, whether this was a hate crime or there was other angle. Was this in any way a retaliatory killing? Are there elements in Kerala which are perhaps responsible for what is happening in this village in Dakshin Kannada and in other parts? That's what also has been indicated by some leaders of the BJP, some mantris. Let's see which direction the investigation takes this case to. We'll continue tracking this, slipping into a very short break.
Into the middle of the vehicles. The impact is so strong that the boundary wall of a building is completely smashed. It is unclear, though, if there were any casualties as a result of this accident. The mega 5G spectrum auction has gotten underway and the bid amount exceeded 1.45 lakh crores on day one. The bid is for 72 gigahertz of radio waves. It is worth 4.3 lakh crores. Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel are among the 4 bidders right now. 5G networks will open 10 times faster than 4G. A phased rollout is expected by September. In fact, 7% of India's smartphone base currently is 5G enabled. Torrential rains have also led to some daring rescue operations, this time in Madhya Pradesh.
This tractor was crossing a bridge in Betur but got submerged in flood waters. Some locals saw the plight of the tractor driver and threw a rope towards him. He managed to grab it and was pulled to safety. In Sehor, 6 labourers were trapped in rising flood waters. A mammoth rescue operation lasting hours was launched to bring them to safer ground. A bridge in Sehor collapsed due to heavy rains, leaving several trucks and other vehicles stranded.
There's a big breakthrough in the Bengal SSC scam probe. According to the Enforcement Directorate, they claim to have found a black diary at the home of the arrested Minister Partha Chatterjee's aide, Arpita Mukherjee. The diary reportedly belongs to the Department of Higher Education and School Education. It has details, supposedly, of cash transactions which she was maintaining. And the probe into the SSC scam is getting bigger. The Enforcement Directorate has summoned TMC MLA Manik Bhattacharya for questioning tomorrow. Bhattacharya is the ex-president of the West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. The ED has already searched his home earlier this month. In Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua district, dozens have been left stranded because of incessant rains.
This group was stuck beside a river. A team of SDRF personnel tried to reach them on a boat. The river was flowing with such force that the ropes were tied to the rescue boat to prevent it from being swept away. The SDRF personnel managed to reach the group and brought them to safety. 4 women got stuck in a field due to rising flood waters, but the Jammu and Kashmir police and a team of SDRF personnel carried out a daring rescue operation and successfully brought them out. One person was seen getting washed away while crossing a flooded road. After getting alerted by locals, police and SDRF personnel rushed to the site to rescue him.
Is India at the risk of slipping into a recession? Here's what a Bloomberg survey of economists says. Right now, according to them, there is zero probability of India slipping into a recession. Experts say that the global impact on India will be moderate. In the short term, Sri Lanka has an 85% probability of going into recession. In fact, all of Asia, the Asian continent, has a 20 to 25% chance of slipping into recession. As far as the United States is concerned, there's a 40% risk, and the odds for Europe are greater than 1 is in 2. So more than 50 to 55% chance of recession in Europe. Recession will pull down the prices of commodities globally, as also the value of assets across the world. Meanwhile, Olympic champion and World Championship silver medalist javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has pulled out of the Commonwealth Games. Chopra has a groin injury. He's been advised a month's rest by his doctors. Neeraj Chopra is defending champion at the CWG, which begins in Birmingham on Thursday. Boxer and Olympic medalist Lavlina Borgohain's personal coach Sandhya Gurung has received her accreditation for the Commonwealth Games. This comes a day after Lavlina alleged mental harassment by the authorities, who denied entry to her coaches to the Games village. After Bollywood star Ranveer Singh broke the internet last week with his nude photo shoot for a magazine, a case has now been filed against the actor. The complainant has accused Ranveer of hurting the sentiments of women and insulting their modesty because of his photographs. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of moral policing has come to light in Mangaluru in Karnataka, reminiscent of what happened in 2009.
Bajrangal members barged into a pub and disrupted a party that was organized by a group of college students. The right-wing group asked the staff to stop the event, alleging that the students were indulging in some illegal activities. They objected to the girls partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers.
Good afternoon, it's 3 o'clock. You continue to be with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, getting you all the developments over the next 60 minutes. Let's begin with our top focus. In a shocking incident in Dakshin Kannada's Bellare village, BJP Yuva Morcha worker Praveen was hacked to death with lethal weapons by unidentified people on a bike on Tuesday evening. Severely injured victim was admitted to the hospital in Puttur and was declared dead at night while undergoing treatment. Now, police have registered a case and intensified the probe as well. 15 people have been questioned, including locals so far. According to police, retaliatory killing is the primary suspicion. Meanwhile, the DGP Praveen Sood has been summoned by the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister Baswaraj Bommai, C.T. Ravi and the Home Minister are currently in a huddle.
In Mangalore, yesterday there was an incident where a Yuva Morcha office bearer has been murdered by motorcyclist. Immediately, police have sung into action, and they are trying to identify the culprits. Very soon they will be nabbed. Second thing is, since it's very close to Kerala border, the Karnataka police is in touch with Kerala police. At the outset, it looks that it was a very pre-planned attempt, and such similarities were there in other cases. So we're studying the whole thing into entirety, and then we'll go to the roots of it.
ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅರಗ ಜ್ಞಾನೇಂದ್ರ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರ್, ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೊಲೆಗೆ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದಂಥ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಸರ್?
ಸರ್, ಇದೊಂದು ದುರದೃಷ್ಟಕರ, ಭಾಳ ಹೇಯ ಕೃತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕೊಲೆಗಡುಕರು. ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಮಾಯಕ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಯುವಕನನ್ನು ತನ್ನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಕತ್ತಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಬೈಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಅವನ್ನ ಕಡ್ದು ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೆ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ, ಹಿರಿಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು ADGP ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಲುಪ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಗಂಭೀರವಾಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದನೂ ಇದನ್ನು ತಪಾಸಣೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅನೇಕ ಗುಂಪುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
इनिशियली रिपोर्ट जो आ रहा है, केरल का जो SDPI और PFI का लिंक है, ऐसे मैसेज मीडिया में वगैरह आ रहा है, मीडिया और सोशल मीडिया में. पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहा है, लेकिन इसके लिए जो PFI और SDPI को जो बढ़ावा दिया है, वो उधर केरल में और इधर भी कर्नाटक में भी कांग्रेस पार्टी उसको बढ़ावा दे रहा है. उनके खिलाफ जो कुछ भी केसेस था, सिद्धरामैया ने इनको विथड्रॉ किया था. इनको एक तरह से एनकरेजमेंट मिल रहे हैं, इसीलिए. लेकिन हमारे सरकार उधर जो है सख्त कार्रवाई करेगी और जो कल्प्रिट्स है दे विल बी ब्रॉट टू बुक.
My colleague Ritu, who is now joining us with more details. So Ritu, the BJP is saying that we have giving an assurance to the family that the culprits will be taken to task very, very soon. But I want to understand first, what is the ground situation like? We're seeing a lot of protests break out as well.
Yes, so there's a major unrest on the ground that you can see, where the BJP workers, in fact, are all up in arms right now, questioning their security. They say that despite of working hard for the party every time, what is that they are getting in return is something like the Praveen's murder in a way, or previously as well, where we get to see a lot of such incidents taking place from the coastal districts. So the workers, the BJP workers are all up in arms now, demanding their security. But you see the family members on the other side who are grieving for the loss now, and they are in fact are also angry. Now remember, the family members are also saying that they don't want any leaders. In fact, what they want is the justice is only thing that they are demanding, because in the morning you saw the family members who had said that despite of even after so many hours of the whole incident, no BJP senior leaders or none of them came and visited the family members in the morning. They have all turned up post after in fact later point. So that's something that the family members are all angry, but there's a major unrest that we're getting to see on the ground, and you see few of them all resigning from the BJP Yuva Morcha. But all this is a major loss for the BJP party, because even despite of such incidents being reported from the coastal district, it is seen that how come the police had failed to anticipate of what might take place next, or how did this even occur, because previously too in all that incident that have occurred from the coastal district had some sort of a pattern. And why did not the police in fact be able to track such pattern this time too? So this is another major incident in the coastal district, that from the coastal district, that has been reported. But as you see, the protesters are all up in arms right now and have been demanding in the justice. But on the other side, the investigation is also on, as the case has also been registered. CM Baswaraj Bommai himself clearly stating that this seems to be a pre-planned crime, but law and order situation is in place right now, and CM is also requesting people to maintain peace, and says that whoever has done this will be nabbed immediately, because this incident where it had
and the Chief Minister C.T. Ravi and Home Minister currently in a huddle as well. But Ritu, I'll just request you to stay on with us. Our colleague Harish is also now joining us on the broadcast. Harish, just recap for our viewers: one, what happened, what led to Praveen being hacked to death, and secondly, what is the initial investigation suggesting? What is the reason behind what has played out?
Well, information coming in from the investigating sources suggests that this could be a retaliatory murder that's taken place. On the 19th, one Masood was attacked, and he succumbed to his injuries on the 21st, and he is from Kasargod, and this is now being seen as a retaliatory attack for that killing that happened in on 19th. And we also understand that there are 6 teams that are on this job right now. 2 teams on the ground at the Kerala-Karnataka border, with some very specific leads being pursued by these 2 teams. There are other teams that are right now gathering technical evidence as well. But police saying that the primary area of interest is a retaliatory attack is what is being pursued now in terms of investigation. They will also talk to the family in a bit once the last rites of Praveen is concluded. But information now suggests that the police have a concrete lead, and they have taken 15 people into detention for questioning. Out of them, 5 are said to be locals, and they're also closely coordinating with their counterparts in Kerala, which suggests that there are elements from Kerala who were part of this attack and who are now being identified and pursued as well.
So, Harish, I also quickly want to talk to you about the area where this hacking has taken place. This entire area, as far as the border, the coastline between Karnataka and Kerala is concerned, over 100 such incidents, communally sensitive incidents, have taken place just in 2021. So, we're understanding this is the highest in 4 years. What is the reason that we're seeing such an increased activity for these incidents in this specific area?
Well, especially the belt of Dakshina Kannada and Mangaluru along the coast of Karnataka has been communally sensitive for a few decades now. In post-Babri Masjid, it's been a sensitive area, and we've seen communal incidents happening here. And we've seen over the last decade or so political killings taking place, because it's an area where the BJP is strong. It's BJP's bastion, but also it's one of the areas where you have other pro-Islamic political parties also having some sort of a standing, whether it's SDPI or PFI. So both groups vying for local support there, leading to multiple political killings. Over the last few years, there have been killings on the issue of cow slaughter, there have been killings on the issue of temple and various other such communal issues. And largely, we've seen this being at a very local level. We've seen groups there in particular town or villages clashing, and then killings happening, then a retaliatory killing happening a few weeks later. As Ritu rightly pointed out, there is a pattern to it, and that's why one wonders on why the police failed to anticipate this kind of a retaliatory killing happening, and whether there was any sort of an intelligence failure is also the question. But the police right now focusing on 2 things. One is the investigation. Second, on ensuring that his last rites can be carried out smoothly and there is no law and order issue in Bellary town. We've already seen emotions running high. Two senior ministers of this government get out. The state BJP president facing embarrassment with his own party workers asking him to go away and saying that you have cheated us, you haven't stood with us, you haven't ensured our security. So the BJP under pressure here on the law and order count and on account of not protecting some of their own.
Okay, Harish and Ritu, we leave the conversation there. Keep tracking those developments for us. Let me bring in our guests who are joining us this afternoon. We have BJP leader from Karnataka, Mohan Krishna. We also have political analyst Sumansi Raman. Good to have both of you on the broadcast with us. Mohan Krishna, let me begin with you first. Emotions are running high. The family is demanding answers. As I was discussing with my colleague Harish a short while ago, this entire belt, it's infamous for such incidents. Over 100 incidents in just 2021 alone. Has there been a lapse as far as officials on the ground are concerned?
Ridhima, emotions are there for me also today because I'm seeing this kind of deaths, especially youth killed, barbaric killing by the people who have killed them is absolutely cannot be digested. So that kind of emotions are there with the cadre also. That is why you are seeing such a chaotic situation at Puttur, Sulya there in Dakshin Kannada. Basically, I would like to make 2 points here. These are all the issues have raised because of the appeasement and the kind of politics, the Congress and SDPI with the help of the SDPI and PFI, what they have done. How they have helped, I will tell you. Mr. Siddaramaiah, when he was the chief minister, when Yediyurappa was the chief minister and Jagdish Shettar, we have filed a case as FIR against 173 cases against PFI and SDPI people. All 173 cases has been quashed. He has quashed Siddaramaiah as soon as he took over. Just see today how we are suffering in Karnataka.
The current government is yours, sir. The current government is yours.
Just give me 30 seconds.
Is it possible for the chief minister today to say that there is an outside plot and for you, and I have a lot of respect for you, but is it possible for you today to sit here and pass the buck? The state government is yours.
I am not passing the buck. I am telling you with lot of, pain, I am telling you this issue. See, if they had not done that today we would have had we were in a situation, the central government also could have banned that PFI and SDPI. Today, there is no evidences. Today, if you put the case also, it will go for 10 years. That is the issue I am talking, Ridhima. Please understand. How many youths have been killed because of Siddaramaiah, because of Congress, because of appeasement. What is this they are doing in this country and this state? And still they are fighting for the CM post? Shame on them. Really shame on them.
While it's fair for you to be wanting to criticize the opposition party, but what I'm looking for here is some sort of clarity in terms of, do we have any leads as far as the accused are concerned? Do we have any answers for the grieving family today? But Sumansi Raman, let me bring you in this entire PFI SDPI angle. This has been hinted by multiple ministers as far as the BJP is concerned, that this is where the investigation should look into. Do you buy that argument as far as the BJP is concerned?
I think all these problems will be solved once the BJP comes to power in Karnataka and Mr. Modi becomes Prime Minister. I think that they are the two things which need to happen. But wait a minute. The BJP has been in power in Karnataka for quite some time. Mr. Modi has been in power at the center for 8 years. I have been participating in debates at least for the last 5 years where this banning of SDPI has been discussed. Who has to ban it? Whose role is it? If the Karnataka government makes a requisition to the center to ban SDPI activities and the center acts on it, the matter ends there.
True.
What is Mr. Mohan Krishna talking about? I mean, law and order in this particular case, state government is BJP, central government is BJP, and he's blaming the opposition. It's absolutely incredible that, we can actually have someone who comes and blames a government which was last in power over 3.5, 4 years ago, more than 4 years ago, and says that they are, or 3 years ago, and says that they are responsible for what is happening today. I mean, look, last a week ago, there was another youth who was killed in more or less the same area, a youth called Masood, and there are investigations going on by the police in that case as well as this case. Allow the investigations to be completed so that the police can come to a conclusion as to what was the reason for these attacks. Now, you want to blame the SDPI or the PFI, the government is yours. I mean, who is Mr. Mohan Krishna trying to blame today? What prevents the government? I have a very clear question. The Kerala government at one point wanted the PFI to be banned. So who is to do it? Is it the American government or is it the UK government which has to ban PFI? What is this gentleman talking about? I'm completely confused.
Yeah. So, Mohan Krishna, that's exactly what I'm saying. Today, there are going to be a lot of questions that will be asked from your government that what are you doing? And I agree with Sumansi Raman that if you need to ban an organization like this, which is infamous as far as its links and work is concerned, where is the lag? For how long can we continue to pass the buck and say that we need a ban on an outfit, but all is well as far as our agencies are concerned? Only 10 people have been detained so far. When is the real arrest going to take place? And more importantly, do we understand why this hacking took place?
Riddhima, my simple question to Sumansi Raman is it a ठेका दिया है क्या बीजेपी को PFI बैन करने के लिए? What are they doing at CPI Kerala? What is Stalin is doing at DMK? What is TRS is doing? Let them pass unanimous resolution. Opposition also, Congress also. That's what I'm saying.
No, but then we can
They should
continue
have-
passing
Who is the ruling
from
party in the
BJP to
center?
Congress, Congress
Mr.
to the
Sumansi
other.
Raman,
And
the
as
ruling
far as
party
the
in the
central
center
government
case.
is concerned,
I'm
that's
sorry,
your
I'm
party,
sorry.
sir.
Who is the
Dossier
ruling
after
party in the
dossier
center?
is there as far as
Raman.
the PFI and SDPI is concerned. But either way, that's only a slight
Who is the
deviation
ruling party in
from
the
what
center?
we're discussing.
Arey, ruling party
Let's
आप
just-
ही थे. What did you do? We have just
Arey,
come to power 3 years back in
sir,
Karnataka. And 2
sir,
years we had
8
COVID.
years.
Yeah, it was
8
a 1
years,
year
sir,
only.
and you're still asking questions to opposition party. After 8 years,
Then
you're
what-
still
what-
asking
what we
questions.
should do? We know that.
You are
Who
asking,
has killed you know? Who has killed you know that?
sir,
That
please
investigation
answer
will
my
be-
question.
And we will
Please
do it.
answer my
We
question.
are capable of doing. But why
If
you
you
why
have,
always
if
want
you
this
have
to be-
evidence,
Why
if
you
you
always
have
why
evidence,
you want
why
PFI
you
to be
not
there?
ban
Okay,
SDPI or
okay.
PFI?
Nobody will understand any conversation like this. Mohan Krishna, the specific questions are, for how long can we continue to say, let the other opposition party take the first move and then we'll follow? If we feel that this is, one second, sir, I'll give you fair time. If we have identified the root problem, then why are we not acting upon it? And more importantly, as far as this case is concerned, I'm asking, does the BJP today have answers of what led to this unfortunate death and also an assurance that this will not be repeated in the future?
Let me answer to you, Riddhima, very calmly. I don't want to say anything. These kind of things, we are not sitting quiet. The government of Karnataka or government of India is not sitting quiet. Under the NIA also, Rudresh, killing, everything has been going, it's going on. We have NIA in Mangalore also, it's the killings, Harsha killing, it is going on. NIA probe is going on. We have to find a correct evidence to put an end to this. See what my simple request to Mr. Sumansi Raman, please advise your Congress people to oblige to ban PFI and SDPI by chorusing with BJP.
Where, sir? Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh, you want them banned, is it? Where do you want them to ban PFI? In Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh?
No, see, the moment
Where
we
do you
do
want?
it, the moment we do it, we know what you will do. You will go to the court.
अरे यार, आपका सरकार, sir, your government,
please understand.
your government in state, your government in center.
Please listen to me. Why you go to the Supreme Court without right evidences to ban the PFI or STPI? You know how difficult it is.
Okay.
How is it difficult? How is it difficult? Government has banned so many organizations.
One second. We've completely deviated from what I was essentially trying to understand. Does the BJP today have a guarantee that these culprits will be nabbed soon? Will there be answers given to the grieving family? If that's the assurance that you're giving, Mohan Krishna, I will hold you to it, and of course the family will hold you to it as well. But Sumansi Raman, the other aspect that I want to discuss with you as well, while as of now there is no clarity of what really led to this hacking. Was it a retaliatory action? Was it because there was support given by Praveen to Kanhaiya, who was that tailor who was beheaded in Udaipur? Do you think that's a reality that's possible as well?
Look, I think it is very unwise to speculate at this stage and, cause say that this must have been the cause or that must have been the reason. The
Sumansi
police
Raman,
have
just give me
started.
30 seconds. I apologize for interrupting. I'll just come back to you. We have BJP MLA Renuka Acharya, who is now joining us on the broadcast. I believe there has been some sort of help, financial help that has been given by the party or by you. Could you talk to us about what is the help that has been extended towards Praveen's family?
Hello.
Can you hear me, ma'am?
Tell me. Yeah, tell me, ma'am. Hello.
Hello.
Tell me, ma'am.
Can you hear me? I was
Yeah,
essentially
tell
trying
me,
to
ma'am.
understand that could you
Yeah.
talk to us about the help that has been extended by the party towards Praveen's family?
Ma'am, very big shocking news. Very bad news. Hello. Our
Can
CM
you
is.
please go ahead?
Hello.
Can hear you. Please go ahead.
Our Praveen family. 1 lakh the announced just. Hello.
Can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, hello.
Sir, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Okay, we'll try and re-establish that connection with Renuka Acharya, the BJP MLA, who I believe has extended some financial support to Praveen's family as well. But continuing the conversation with Sumansi Raman and Mohan Krishna. Sumansi Raman, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying it is very unwise to speculate. That region has a long history of communal, killings, political violence, and communal violence, and therefore, every one of us should be extremely responsible before jumping to conclusions. Let the police complete the investigation. And as far as banning an organization goes, there cannot be any politics or compromise when it comes to the internal security of the country. If there is evidence against PFI, then by all means the government should act. But the PFI SDPI is basically being used as a political tool to be blamed every time such incidents happen. There is a blame, then there is a question as to why are they not banned? Why are they not banned? And clearly, the onus of banning them, in this case, whether it is the state government or the central government, it comes back to the same party. So there are no excuses, and I don't think this endless blaming of previous governments will wash any longer. I mean, the center has been in power now, the same government for 8 years, and the BJP has been in power earlier in Karnataka as well. Subsequently, they were in power through.
I apologize for interrupting again. We're getting some reactions coming in. I believe the Home Minister is reacting. Let's listen in.
ಸರ್ ಇದು ಪೂರ್ವ ನಿಯೋಜಿತವಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದಂಥ ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥ ಕೃತ್ಯಗಳಿದು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಆದಂಥ ಈ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ. ಹಿಂದಿನ ಸರ್ಕಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಅನೇಕರದ್ದು ಹಿಡಿದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅನೇಕರದ್ದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟಿಗೇಷನ್ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೀಗೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಗಂಭೀರ.
Well, that was the Home Minister there reacting, as we had pointed out earlier, that the Chief Minister, Home Minister and others are currently in a huddle, giving assurances to the grieving family that action will be taken and the accused will be nabbed as well. So, Sumansi Raman, I really...
ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ವಿವರಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸುವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಕಾಪಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದು ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅಪರಾಧಿಗಳನ್ನು
Arga Gnanendra saying that things are under control, appealing for peace and calm. He's saying there is one team that's been sent to Kerala for investigation. They're coordinating with the Kerala police and 10 people have been detained for questioning.
ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 10 ಜನ ಆಗಷ್ಟು ವಶಕ್ಕೆ ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎನ್ಕ್ವೈರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
He's saying around 10 people have been detained for questioning.
ಅವರನ್ನ ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ, ಹಿಂದೂ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಬಿಜೆಪಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಕೊಲೆ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತರು ಯಾವ ಸರ್ಕಾರವನ್ನ ಯಾರನ್ನ ಬ್ಲೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು?
ಸರ್, ಇದು ಪೂರ್ವ ನಿಯೋಜಿತವಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದಂಥ ಸಡನ್ನಾಗಿ ನಡೆಯುವಂಥ ಕೃತ್ಯಗಳಿದು. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಆದಂಥ ಈ ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾವ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಲ್ಲೂ ಬಿಡಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Arga Gnanendra saying that the BJP government will not spare anyone in such cases, while in earlier cases during Congress's regime, some of these cases were solved, some were not. But the BJP government has solved all the cases
and taken such
ಕೃತ್ಯ
cases
ಆಗಿ
very
ಒಂದು ದಿನ
seriously.
2 ದಿನದ ಒಳಗಾಗಿ ಅಪರಾಧಿಗಳನ್ನು ಬಂಧಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಕರಾವಳಿ ಕಡೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇದು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕೇರಳದಿಂದ ಬರೋದು, ಮರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಓಡೋಗೋದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಕೇರಳ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ
over the last few years that such incidents have increased, people coming from Kerala and then carrying out such attacks in coastal Karnataka. DGP Praveen Sood has spoken to Kerala DGP. They've sought their assistance as well.
ಸಹಜ ಅಲ್ರಿ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಮಾಯಕ ಯುವಕನನ್ನು ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಆಕ್ರೋಶ, ಒಂಥರ ಹತಾಶೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮೇಲೂ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬರೋದು ಅದಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಡೆತ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾನಲ್ಲ, ಅವನ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆ ಪಾಪ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಅವನ ಮೇಲೆ ಯಾವ ಕೇಸ್ಗಳಾಗಲಿ ಇದಾಗಲಿ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಮಾಯಕ, ಅವನ ಪಾಡಿಗೆ ಅವನಿದ್ದ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ವರ್ಕರು ಇದ್ದ. ಅವನು ಡೆತ್ ಆದಾಗ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಕಲ್ಕುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ರೀತಿ ಸಿಟ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ಕೆರಳುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ರಾತ್ರಿ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಫೋನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಸದಾಕಾಲ ಅವರು ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾಯಿದ್ರು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದು ಇದನ್ನು ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಅರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಉಪಶಮನ ಆಗ್ತದೆ.
ಎನ್ಐಗೆ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಆಗ್ರಹ ಕೇಳಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಶೋಭಾ ಕರಂದಾಜೆ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಆಗ್ರಹ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು.
ನಾವು ಗಮನಿಸ್ತೇವೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಅದನ್ನ ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಕೊಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ತಯಾರಿದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು. ಎಂತ
Araga Jnanendra saying that if the police believe this case needs to be given to the NIA, then the government will think about it.
ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಈಗ ಶಾಂತವಾಗಿದೆ. ಫ್ಯೂನರಲ್ ಸೆರೆಮನಿ ಇನ್ನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
Saying that things are under control in Bellare, where we had seen a large number of people gathering in the morning.
Well, that was the Home Minister there, one appealing for peace and calm, also saying that 10 people have been detained for questioning. Also, the BJP assuring that they will not spare anyone who's found guilty. And also, once again, hitting back at the Congress, saying cases were not solved during the Congress tenure. Mohan Krishna from the BJP and Sumansi Raman, our political analysts, continue to be with us. We're also now getting some breaking developments coming in. We're now understanding MLA Renukacharya has threatened to resign, going on to say Hindus not being protected in a BJP government. That's the update that's coming in. All of this in the backdrop of the situation that we're still seeing play out in Karnataka. Also, the MLA, we're understanding, saying there is no protection to the Hindus, now threatening to resign. So this is going to be a big embarrassment as far as the BJP is concerned. We just heard from the Home Minister appealing for calm, saying and giving an assurance to the family that action will be taken, culprits will be arrested. They're also saying 10 people have been already, detained for questioning so far, so action will follow. But they've also hit out at the Congress, saying that cases were not solved because the Congress refused to act. But now we're seeing rumblings within the BJP party as well. You have a Karnataka BJP MLA threatening to resign, going on to say that Hindus are not being protected in a BJP government. Remember, we still don't have full clarity of what really led to Praveen's death. But my colleague Harish Upadhyay now joining us. Harish, what really is happening as far as the MLA Renukacharya is concerned? What are the issues that he is raising, and has the party responded so far?
Well, at this point in time, this is being seen more as posturing by political posturing by MP Renukacharya. He's an MP from Honali. He's an MLA from Honali, nowhere close to Bellare or anywhere close to Dakshina Kannada or coastal Karnataka. But he's someone who's in the limelight all the time for his statements. So he's given another statement saying that he is contemplating to resign. He would meet the Chief Minister at a later point in time and after that take a call on whether he should resign. But he says his grouse is that the government has failed to protect Hindus, especially workers who are working tirelessly for the cause of Hindutva. And it's unfortunate that this is happening at a time when the BJP government is in power in Karnataka over the last few years. And despite that, nothing has happened. And despite the fact that there have been killings of Hindu workers, whether it's Harsha, Prashant Pujari, various others, and Harsha being the latest recent one that happened in Shumaga just before Praveen was killed yesterday. The grouse is that the government hasn't done enough
This is the sentiment of the workers that has come out over the last few hours. And Acharya saying that he will resign, and he is pained that the government hasn't done enough.
Okay, Harish, we'll leave the conversation there. So that's the update that's coming in. There are rumblings within the BJP as well. Mohan Krishna and Sumansi Raman continue to be with us. Thank you for patiently waiting. Mohan Krishna, how do you respond to what your own MLA is now saying, threatening to resign because there is now a sense on the ground that Hindus are not being protected by the party?
Nidhima, as Harish was saying, it was a political posturing by Renukacharya MLA. We know him very well. Whenever probably his Kannada translation might not be right, what he might have said is different. I will speak to Mr. Renukacharya soon after the show, and I will let you know exactly what he has spoken. Okay, what did he mean exactly? Sometimes, languages has got a problem, so that is the reason. Harish has said it's a political posturing, so you can understand that is nothing to be taken seriously.
Okay.
He said that he will meet the chief minister and try to explain what is happening in Karnataka. When you take the mic in front of our certain people, they talk in the same way. I don't underestimate that.
Okay, so you are saying this is just political posturing. That's not a real fear that we're seeing play out on the ground. We really will have to see how that plays out. Mohan Krishna, we appreciate you joining us here on the broadcast. This is a story that we'll keep tracking very, very closely. But for now, we're slipping into a very short break.
The day after Lavlina alleged mental harassment by the authorities who denied entry to her coaches to the games village. After Bollywood star Ranveer Singh broke the internet last week with his nude photo shoot for a magazine, a case has now been filed against the actor. The complainant has accused Ranveer of hurting the sentiments of women and insulting their modesty because of his photographs. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of moral policing has come to light in Mangaluru in Karnataka, reminiscent of what happened in 2009.
Bajrang Dal members barged into a pub and disrupted a party that was organized by a group of college students. The right-wing group asked the staff to stop the event, alleging that the students were indulging in some illegal activities. They objected to the girls partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers and chased them away.
Beijing and Islamabad's latest move on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project has left India fuming. China and Pakistan are now inviting third countries to join the project. The MEA has called this move illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable. The CPEC is part of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It was launched in 2013 to improve Pakistan's connectivity corridor. It in fact passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and that is something that India has pointed out on a number of occasions to the Chinese. Its incessant rains have wreaked havoc across Rajasthan, in particular in Jodhpur.
Heavy flooding in Jodhpur led to several vehicles being washed away. These dramatic pictures show helpless locals looking on as cars are dragged away by strong flood waters. Similar scenes were witnessed in Tonk. The road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding in Rajasthan is because the rivers across the state seem to be in spate.
Due to torrential rains for more than a week, water levels in rivers have increased. This man was trying to cross a bridge, but the water was flowing so fast that he got stuck. Thankfully, some locals rushed in and managed to rescue him. Almost all the dams in the state are full, and authorities have been forced to open the gates and release excess water. But many are making the most of the situation and enjoying the abundance of waterfalls in Rajasthan. Still, authorities have warned people to be careful because the current is strong. The Met Department has predicted more rains in the state for the next 2 days.
Meanwhile, amid the ongoing Amarnath Yatra, heavy rains around the holy cave triggered flash floods, but an alert was sounded immediately and more than 4,000 pilgrims were safely evacuated. Just earlier this month, flash floods had triggered by heavy rain struck near the shrine, killing at least 16 people. There's some frightening footage from a busy road in Shimla which shows a speeding truck ramming into several cars. The truck driver appears to have lost control of the vehicle. He swerved towards the right and collided bang into the middle of the vehicles. The impact is so strong that the boundary wall of a building is completely smashed. It is unclear, though, if there were any casualties as a result of this accident. The mega 5G spectrum auction has gotten underway and the bid amount exceeded 1.45 lakh crores on day one. The bid is for 72 gigahertz of radio waves. It is worth 4.3 lakh crores. Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel are among the 4 bidders right now. 5G networks will open 10 times faster than 4G. A phased rollout is expected by September. In fact, 7% of India's smartphone base currently is 5G enabled. Torrential rains have also led to some daring rescue operations, this time in Madhya Pradesh.
This tractor was crossing a bridge in Betur but got submerged in flood waters. Some locals saw the plight of the tractor driver and threw a rope towards him. He managed to grab it and was pulled to safety. In Sehor, 6 laborers were trapped in rising flood waters. A mammoth rescue operation lasting hours was launched to bring them to safer ground. A bridge in Sehor collapsed.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. The Enforcement Directorate has now filed a charge sheet against 10 accused, including Satyendra Jain, his wife Poonam Jain, Vaibhav Jain, Ankush Jain, some others and 4 companies as well. We're also now understanding that the charge sheet filed before the special CBI judge, the court has posted the matter for cognizance and further proceedings on the 29th of July. My colleague Shankar Anand is getting us all these details. तो शंकर ये बताइए चार्जशीट किस किस के अगेंस्ट है और क्या कोई अपडेट आया है सत्येंद्र जैन की लीगल टीम की तरफ से?
देखिए, इस मामले में जिस तरह से राउसबनी कोर्ट में चार्जशीट दायर किया गया और चार्जशीट दायर करने के बाद आज ही इस मामले पे कॉग्निजेंस की बात आ रही थी, ऐसा संभावना व्यक्त किया जा रहा था कि आज ही इस मामले पर संज्ञान कोर्ट के द्वारा लिया जा सकता है, लेकिन इस मामले में अब 29 जुलाई का वक्त मुकर्रर किया गया है। और अगर ईडी के चार्जशीट की अगर बात करें तो इसमें सत्येंद्र जैन को सबसे पहला आरोपी बनाया गया है। सत्येंद्र जैन के साथ साथ पूनम जैन जो उनकी पत्नी है उनको आरोपी बनाया गया है। अंकुश जैन, वैभव जैन, सुनील कुमार जैन जो अंकुश जैन के पिता हैं उनको भी आरोपी के तौर पर बनाया गया है। अजीत प्रसाद जैन जो वैभव के पिता हैं इनको भी आरोपी बनाया गया है। इसके साथ ही 4 जो कंपनी है उसका नाम भी मैं बताना चाहूंगा, अकिंचन डेवलपमेंट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, इसके साथ ही प्रयास इन्फोटेक प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, मंगलायन प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, जेजे आइडियल एस्टेट। तो ये जो 4 कंपनियां हैं, इन चारों कंपनियों में किस तरह से कई अन्य आरोपियों को डायरेक्टर बनाया जाता था। तो इस मामले में जो सत्येंद्र जैन की जो भूमिका है वो इन्वेस्टिगेट ईडी के द्वारा किया गया और उसी मामले को ध्यान बनाते हुए आज चार्जशीट फाइल किया गया है। हालांकि अभी तक इस मामले में ईडी के द्वारा ऑफिशियल कोई इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं दिया जा रहा है, लेकिन जो हमारे सूत्र बताते हैं कि इस मामले में जब कई और भी तफ्तीश का जो दायरा है वो आगे बढ़ता जा रहा है और इस मामले में जल्द ही कुछ अन्य आरोपियों की गिरफ्तारी भी संभव है। निश्चित तौर पे जिस तरह से आज चार्जशीट दायर हुआ है, 29 जुलाई को जब इस मामले पर कोर्ट के द्वारा संज्ञान लिया जाएगा तो उसके बाद कई और भी जानकारियां कोर्ट के माध्यम से बाहर आ सकती हैं।
शंकर आनंद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। Let's also now shift our focus to the other big story that we're tracking. The Supreme Court pronounced its judgment on the constitutional validity of the various provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act or the PMLA. The Supreme Court has upheld all PMLA provisions under challenge. However, issues relating to amendment in PMLA through money bill would be heard by a larger bench of the Supreme Court. Remember, more than 100 petitions on various aspects of the PMLA had been grouped together and were heard by the bench. The judgment addressed several issues concerning investigative powers, witness summoning, ED arrest and seizure, and the bail process under the PMLA.
यह विषय जो उठा रहे हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी वाले, ये न देश के लिए है आवश्यक, न ही पार्टी के लिए। ये एक परिवार को बचाने की एक कुत्सित प्रयास है और परिवार को ही बचाने का प्रयास चल रहा है। करोड़ों रुपए का घोटाला हुआ है। उस घोटाले के बारे में एजेंसीज को जवाब देना ये उनकी आवश्यकता है, लेकिन यह परिवार अपने आप को देश से ऊपर, कानून से ऊपर समझता है। Court has just now upheld the PMLA and the ED's jurisdiction, and the Supreme Court has said very clearly that they have that jurisdiction, and PMLA is within the ambit of the legal ambit in which it is working. It has been upheld by Supreme Court, and we should respect the Constitution, we should respect the law, and we should respect the law of the land.
Why is Congress running away from the probe? What do they have to hide? See, the big question is whether one family, whether the Gandhi family is above law. There should be a separate law for the Gandhi family. Why are they running away from the agencies? The only big question arises is that they are also answerable to the agencies like any other Indian. They should face the probe.
The Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a specific act. The object and the purpose of the act is to prevent money laundering and take action against black money or proceeds of crime. Now, when the court was looking at these challenges, the nexus of the object with what the section provides has obviously been upheld. So therefore, the act is there is no challenge. The challenge does not succeed. So now that the challenge to the act itself or the sections is over, it should bring closure to the issue. Everyone had a full opportunity to go out there, put their arguments, and now a reasoned judgment has come, and that should be the final word.
Now, the backdrop of what we have heard from the Supreme Court, where of course the PMLA provisions have been upheld, also come at a very interesting time. This comes at a time when the Congress and the opposition has been protesting against the misuse of central agencies. It also comes at a time when Sonia Gandhi continues to be questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. So we thought this is a good time to actually break down the details in terms of how many raids have we seen in the UPA government vis-a-vis the Modi Sarkar. So let's first begin with the UPA, that is 2004 to 2014. In the 10 years, there were 112 searches. Now compare it to the number that we're putting out on the other side, which is time period of 2014 to 2022. In the 8 years, we've seen a 27-fold increase. There have been over 3,000 searches. But this is where it gets interesting. The criticism that has been coming in from the opposition is that you can continue misusing the agencies, but actually this is just a tool of harassment because the conviction rate actually is very, very low. So let's break down those details. As we put out this number in the previous plate, that there were over 3,000 searches, 888 prosecutions, 23 convictions, strike rate of under 30% of, as far as convictions are concerned, that's less than 1%. And this is where the criticism against the government is coming in, that today the agencies like the CBI and the ED are just being used as a tool to harass the opposition or also to try and stifle all possible voices of dissent. So as we pointed out, the timing of what we've heard from the Supreme Court today has been very, very interesting, where all the PMLA provisions, as we pointed out, have been upheld. Remember, on the other hand, the Congress continues with its protest as far as misuse of agencies like the ED and the CBI. We saw this play out in the national capital once again today as the questioning of Sonia Gandhi before the Enforcement Directorate still continued, and this was, of course, for the third day running. But what are the implications of what we heard from the Supreme Court today? Let me bring in our legal correspondent, Ananya Bhatnagar, who is joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, simply speaking for our viewers, what are the implications of what we heard from the Supreme Court today?
Well, yes, definitely a very, very land-bank judgment is coming from a three-judges bench at the topmost court of the country, headed by Justice A.M. Khanwilkar, Justice D.N.H. Maheshwari and Justice C.T. Ravikumar, clearly upholding almost all the provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, wherein it has upheld the power of the special powers, in fact, of arrest, search and seizures, of which are vested with the ED officer. It has also upheld that ED officers are not at all very similar to a police official, and hence a statement given out before a ED official can be admissible statement in the court of law under section 50 of the PMLA. Apart from that, it has also been upheld that the ED does not have a compulsion to provide a ECIR copy, which is quite similar to a FIR but is not very distinct, and the Supreme Court has held that is an internal document of the Enforcement Directorate, and the supply of a ECIR can in fact turn the case back onto the Enforcement Directorate, can turn the case bad for the Enforcement Directorate itself. But what is very, very crucial to note is that in a contravention, the Supreme Court has also held that if a predicate offence on which in fact, like a CBI registers a case and then ED initiates a money laundering probe, but if a person is acquitted under the CBI case, then he will definitely be acquitted in the scheduled offence, that is the PMLA offence as well. So there has to be a predicate offence, and then only a standalone PMLA case can stand. It cannot stand alone, and hence this is something that has come in contravention with the ED. But then all these, mostly the provisions have been upheld, and one of the aspect that whether an amendment to the PMLA can be brought in through a money bill has been referred to a 7 judges larger bench, which would be heard by the Supreme Court in the later half of the year. Whenever it comes up before the topmost court of the country, it is up to the CGI because he's the master of the roster. So we'll have to wait and watch as to when this comes up. But then definitely a big win for the Enforcement Directorate, and somewhat troubles mounting for people like Sonia Gandhi who are under the scanner of the agency, because their statements would be definitely admissible before the court of law, and also troubles mounting for Partha Chatterjee and Arpita Mukherjee as well.
Ananya, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Some alarming reports now coming in from Kabul, where we're understanding a bomb is exploded near the main gate of the Gurudwara Pawan in Kabul, Afghanistan a few minutes ago. Members of the Sikh and Hindu community are reported to be safe. Further details are still awaited. Let me bring in my colleague Abhishek Jha. Abhishek, do we have any more details of when the blast took place, and more importantly, the safety of the people as far as the Hindu and Sikh community are concerned?
So Ridhima, this has been reported that just almost an hour ago there has been a blast on the near the Gurudwara that was attacked a few weeks ago, where there has been casualty as well. But this time the blast seems not to be as destructive. However, there are still investigations going on from the administration of currently ruling Taliban administration in Kabul. Also, so far there has not been any report of any casualty among the Hindu or the minority Sikh community who are residing near the premises. That bomb which has exploded, in front of the main gate of the Gurudwara, Karte Pawan. And so far, the administration and the local authorities have reached at the spot, and they are trying to assess the damage. They are also trying to nab who all were behind this attack or the explosion. But it looks like there has been no life which has been lost in this blast so far. But we are still waiting for the more update as the investigation proceed further.
Okay, Abhishek, thanks for getting us that update. We'll, of course, keep tracking those developments. For now, slipping into a very short break.
Partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers and chased them away.
Beijing and Islamabad's latest move on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project has left India fuming. China and Pakistan are now inviting third countries to join the project. The MEA has called this move illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable. The CPEC is part of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It was launched in 2013 to improve Pakistan's connectivity corridor. It in fact passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and that is something that India has pointed out on a number of occasions to the Chinese. Its incessant rains have wreaked havoc across Rajasthan, in particular in Jodhpur.
Heavy flooding in Jodhpur led to several vehicles being washed away. These dramatic pictures show helpless locals looking on as cars are dragged away by strong flood waters. Similar scenes were witnessed in Tonk. The road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding in Rajasthan is because the rivers across the state seem to be in spate.
Due to torrential rains for more than a week, water levels in rivers have increased. This man was trying to cross a bridge, but the water was flowing so fast that he got stuck. Thankfully, some locals rushed in and managed to rescue him. Almost all the dams in the state are full, and authorities have been forced to open the gates and release excess water. But many are making the most of the situation and enjoying the abundance of waterfalls in Rajasthan. Still, authorities have warned people to be careful because the current is strong. The Met Department has predicted more rains in the state for the next 2 days.
Meanwhile, amid the ongoing Amarnath Yatra, heavy rains around the holy cave triggered flash floods, but an alert was sounded immediately and more than 4,000 pilgrims were safely evacuated. Just earlier this month, flash floods had triggered by heavy rain struck near the shrine, killing at least 16 people. There's some frightening footage from a busy road in Shimla which shows a speeding truck ramming into several cars. The truck driver appears to have lost control of the vehicle. He swerved towards the right and collided bang into the middle of the vehicles. The impact is so strong that the boundary wall of a building is completely smashed. It is unclear, though, if there were any casualties as a result of this accident. The mega 5G spectrum auction has gotten underway and the bid amount exceeded 1.45 lakh crores on day one. The bid is for 72 gigahertz of radio waves. It is worth 4.3 lakh crores. Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel are among the 4 bidders right now. 5G networks will open 10 times faster than 4G. A phased rollout is expected by September. In fact, 7% of India's smartphone base currently is 5G enabled. Torrential rains have also led to some daring rescue operations, this time in Madhya Pradesh.
This tractor was crossing a bridge in Betur but got submerged in floodwaters. Some locals saw the plight of the tractor driver and threw a rope towards him. He managed to grab it and was pulled to safety. In Sehor, 6 labourers were trapped in rising floodwaters. A mammoth rescue operation lasting hours was launched to bring them to safer ground. A bridge in Sehor collapsed due to heavy rains, leaving several trucks and other vehicles stranded.
There's a big breakthrough in the Bengal SSC scam probe. According to the Enforcement Directorate, they claim to have found a black diary at the home of the arrested Minister Partha Chatterjee's aide, Arpita Mukherjee. The diary reportedly belongs to the Department of Higher Education and School Education. It has details, supposedly, of cash transactions which she was maintaining. And the probe into the SSC scam is getting bigger. The Enforcement Directorate has summoned TMC MLA Manik Bhattacharya for questioning tomorrow. Bhattacharya is the ex-president of the West Bengal Board of Secondary Education. The ED has already searched his home earlier this month. In Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua district, dozens have been left stranded because of
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. A massive political controversy has now erupted over the Kanwar Yatra. AIMIM chief Asaduddin Owaisi took a jibe at the warmth with which Kanwariyas are greeted. The leader argued that while Kanwariyas are showered with petals, the authorities should at least spare Muslims and not use bulldozers on their houses. Sharing several news reports about the Kanwar Yatra, Owaisi said, and I'd like to quote, "If a Muslim offers prayers in an open place even for a few minutes, it leads to a row. Muslims are facing police bullets, custodial clashes, NSA, UAPA lynchings, bulldozers just for being Muslims." Meanwhile, the BJP has defended the tradition, saying that the government makes arrangement for all religions.
तो ये आप डिस्क्रिमिनेशन कर रहे हैं एक समुदाय के खिलाफ जो भारत के संविधान के खिलाफ है। भाई आर्टिकल 25 का हवाला देंगे भाजपा वाले। भाई इसमें आप बताइए आर्टिकल 25 का हवाला देंगे इसमें कौन सा इसमें वो हो रहा है कि पब्लिक यहाँ पर किसी को तकलीफ हो रही है, किसी को हार्म हो रहा है नमाज पढ़ने से, कोई फसाद हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है ना। तो आप इक्वली ट्रीट करिए, क्यों नहीं इक्वली ट्रीट करते? आपका नारा है सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, तो आप तो वो तो निस्बत कायम नहीं है।
AIMIM के मुखिया जो आए दिन ये जहर उगलने का काम करते हैं, समाज को बांटने की कोशिश करते हैं, अपना वोट बैंक बढ़ाने के लिए इस प्रकार के बयान दे करके चर्चा में आने का असफल प्रयास करते हैं। इससे उनको बाज आना चाहिए। अगर कांवर यात्रा चलती है तो उसमें लाखों करोड़ों लोग देश भर में निकलते हैं और उस पर इस प्रकार के सवाल उठाने वालों का मैं समझता हूं कि मानसिक संतुलन ही बिगड़ गया है। वह इस प्रकार का दृश्य देख नहीं पा रहे हैं, बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, लेकिन इस प्रकार के लोगों को महत्व नहीं देना चाहिए।
Let me now also bring in my colleague Pranshu, who is joining us on the broadcast. Pranshu, the point that Asaduddin Owaisi is trying to make, that there is discrimination simply because of religion as far as what we are seeing play out in the country. How is the BJP responding to these allegations?
Well, Mr. Owaisi is basically pointing more towards the fact that how the government machinery has been put to service as far as the moving Kanwariyas are concerned, how flowers are being showered from, on them using the state helicopters. I think Mr. Owaisi is backing up that point. If you go into the politics of Mr. Owaisi, you will see that he has been the one who has continuously taken up the issues of the BJP, issues against the BJP, UP government, even before the elections and now in the post-election scenario. And always the opposition parties have said that, Mr. Owaisi is playing for the music to the tunes of the Bharatiya Janata Party. He racks up the issues which ultimately boil down in favor of the Bharatiya Janata Party. And that's the reason why opposition parties are always shy of responding to what Mr. Owaisi has to say. Like past, again, we are seeing that it is the BJP which is coming out and hitting against Mr. Owaisi. So the point here is that whatever Mr. Owaisi is saying, ultimately, politically, can boil down as a benefit for the Bharatiya Janata Party, because this debate ignites, it ultimately will get into the majority versus the minority debate. And that debate is something which BJP is more shy of. That's the reason why we haven't seen anyone from the opposition parties, Samajwadi Party, Congress, SP, attacking the state government on this issue. Government is very clear that lakhs and lakhs of devotees automatically come out on the street, and therefore you need to use the government machinery in order to ensure that law and order situation remains peaceful and people who are moving on the street also get adequate facilities.
Pranshu, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's also now listen in to some other political reactions.
सर, इस पर ओवैसी ने सवाल उठाए हैं। असदुद्दीन ओवैसी ने उन्होंने कहा कि उन पर पुष्प वर्षा की जा रही है, लेकिन जब लोहारों को हटाया जा रहा है, अगर कावड़िए मुस्लिम का नाम भी लेते हैं तो फिर कार्रवाई शुरू हो जाती है।
देखिए, जब ताजिया निकलती है, जब उनके भी त्यौहार होते हैं, तो प्रशासन और सरकार उसमें भी इंतजाम करती है, उसमें भी करती है। तो अगर आज कांवड़िया निकल रही है, जो पैदल लोग चल रहे हैं, इनका एक आस्था, ये धर्मनिरपेक्ष देश है और सभी धर्मनिरपेक्ष लोग जो हैं उनका सरकार सम्मान करती है। इसलिए उत्तर प्रदेश में उन कांवड़ियों पे जो पैदल चल रहे हैं, सीखे भरते हैं, उन पर स्पर्धा की जा रही है।
लेकिन भेदभाव की बात ओवैसी कह रहे हैं।
कहीं भेदभाव नहीं। मैंने कहा ना कि जब ताजिया निकलता है तो रूट डाइवर्ट कर दिया जाता है, रास्ता बंद कर दिया जाता है। ईद का त्यौहार होता है, ईद का त्यौहार होता है, उन त्योहारों में जितना प्रशासन और शासन होता है उसकी मदद करता है।
पश्चिमी उत्तर प्रदेश, आप मेरठ से ताल्लुक़ रखते हैं और आपके ही रीजन में फूल बरसाए गए थे, कैसे देखते हैं इस ट्वीट को ओवैसी?
नहीं, देखिए, ये धर्म की बात नहीं है। कोई उस नाते इस घटना को नहीं देखा जाना चाहिए। एक जन आस्था का इतना बड़ा एक स्वरूप है ये, यानी लाखों कांवड़िए रोज निकलते हैं, विभिन्न प्रदेशों से वहाँ पर हरिद्वार पहुँचते हैं, वहाँ से जल लेते हैं और कुल मिलाकर के इनकी संख्या करोड़ों में पहुँच जाती है। तो एक जनास्था का सम्मान है और जनास्था के इस प्रकार के सम्मान के कार्यक्रम अन्य जो रिलीजन से जुड़े हुए लोग भी उनके विषय में भी होते रहे हैं और इसलिए इसको केवल धार्मिक आधार पर नहीं देखना चाहिए, सामान्य जन से जोड़ करके देखना चाहिए। और जैसा मैंने कहा, केवल उत्तर प्रदेश के नहीं, आप देखिए राजस्थान, हरियाणा, दिल्ली, पंजाब और भी दूरस्थ स्थानों से वहाँ पर श्रद्धालु पहुँचते हैं और बड़ी एक प्रकार की तपस्या से करते हुए वो अपने गाँवों को जल लेकर के जाते हैं। पैदल जाते हैं और अपने जो गांव का जो शिवालय है वहाँ पर शिवरात्रि के दिन जल चढ़ाते हैं।
Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with CNN News 18. I'm Anusha Soni. Our top focus this hour is the political turmoil in Karnataka after the unfortunate death of a BJYM worker. Situation has turned tense in Dakshin Kannada's Bellar village after a BJP Yuva Morcha worker was hacked to death. The BJP Yuva Morcha worker took to streets to protest against the killing. Praveen Netaru, he was killed by unidentified people on Tuesday evening. An interstate police probe has been initiated. Several people have been detained and are currently being questioned. According to police, this is a retaliatory killing. This is the primary suspicion. This is the line on which the investigation is going on right now. Chief Minister Basuraj Bommai and Home Minister have assured that the culprits will be caught at the earliest. Meanwhile, prohibitory orders have been imposed in the town to make sure that the law and order remains under control.
In Mangalore, yesterday there was an incident where a Yuva Morcha office bearer has been murdered by motorcyclist. Immediately, police have sung into action, and they are trying to identify the culprits. Very soon they will be nabbed. Second thing is, since it's very close to Kerala border, the Karnataka police is in touch with Kerala police. At the outset, it looks that it was a very pre-planned attempt, and such similarities were there in other cases. So we're studying the whole thing into entirety, and then we'll go to the roots of it.
ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಗೃಹ ಸಚಿವರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಅರಗ ಜ್ಞಾನೇಂದ್ರ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸರ್, ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕೊಲೆಗೆ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದಂಥ ಕಾರಣ ಏನು, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ ತನಿಖೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಸರ್?
ಸರ್, ಇದೊಂದು ದುರದೃಷ್ಟಕರ, ಭಾಳ ಹೇಯ ಕೃತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕೊಲೆಗಡಕರು. ಒಬ್ಬ ಅಮಾಯಕ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಯುವಕನನ್ನು ತನ್ನ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮುಗಿಸಿ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ಕತ್ತಲಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಬೈಕ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಅವನ್ನ ಕಡ್ದು ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಲೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ಪೊಲೀಸರಿಗೆ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ, ಹಿರಿಯ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತನಾಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು ADGP ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಹೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಲುಪ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಗಂಭೀರವಾಗಿ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯಿಂದನೂ ಇದನ್ನು ತಪಾಸಣೆ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಅನೇಕ ಗುಂಪುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಪೊಲೀಸರು ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
इनिशियली रिपोर्ट जो आ रहा है, केरल का जो SDPI और PFI का लिंक है, ऐसे मैसेज मीडिया में वगैरह आ रहा है, मीडिया और सोशल मीडिया में. पुलिस इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रहा है, लेकिन इसके लिए जो PFI और SDPI को जो बढ़ावा दिया है वो उधर केरल में और इधर भी कर्नाटक में भी कांग्रेस पार्टी उसको बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं. उनके खिलाफ जो कुछ भी केसेस था, सिद्धरामैया ने इनको विथड्रॉ किया था. इनको एक तरह से एनकरेजमेंट मिल रहे हैं, इसीलिए. लेकिन हमारे सरकार उधर जो है सख्त कार्रवाई करेगी और जो कल्प्रिट्स है दे विल बी ब्रॉट टू बुक.
My colleague Ritu is joining us live, getting us more details about the story. Ritu, tell us more about the police investigation which is underway. We also heard from the bereaved family members who are demanding justice, but a broad idea about the preliminary investigation which is underway right now, and which direction really is it heading to?
Yes, the investigation in this incident is on as well. There has been a lot of pressure that has been mounted from the BJP workers, BJP Yuva Morcha workers as well. You can see them all gearing the Neta's car, in fact, and they've been questioning about the security, saying that despite of working hard for the party, what is that they're getting in the return? Is this the kind of incidents that they deserve? Because this is not a single incident that they have seen, but previously as well, there were many such incidents, and the same pattern of the killing was also being observed. With all this, now there is a lot of big question. In fact, the big questions that coming in front line for the police as well as for the state government, because the pressure has been mounted from all the sides. As you see, the opposition party is also questioning the BJP party for this kind of incident that takes place, and there seems to be no action is what the opposition is saying. But when we speak about the investigation, so far the 10 people are being detained and 15 people are being questioned. But because this is a sad time for the family members, the police are in fact waiting to speak with the family members to understand and whom he had spoken previously and what all had been there, whom all he had met, and what are the other things that the family members can actually speak to the police. Is that will be the big source for the police, and that they are waiting to speak once this incident in fact takes down in a way and they get a time to speak with the family members. But you see a lot of pressure that is being mounted from the workers of the BJP workers, and you see most of them also resigning from the BJP Yuva Morcha. They are tendering their resignations, questioning about their security, because this is another that the brutal killing is what has been said, because the CM Baswaraj Bommai himself is also saying that this seems to be a pre-planned crime, and the police is investigating this whole issue to ensure what exactly had happened, because this incident where it had taken place is very close to the Kerala, and there seems to be SDPI and the PFI links as well.
Ritu,
so there would be other things that would be linked in this whole
there are
incident
multiple
that has to be
angles
probed
from
by the
which
police.
the police is probing this entire case. We are also getting a reaction from CT Ravi. Let's go to that.
Joining us right now, BJP National General Secretary Mr. CT Ravi. सर, आपने देखा है कैसा प्रोटेस्ट हो रहा है उधर बेलारे में. काफ़ी आक्रोशित है बीजेपी कार्यकर्ता कि बीजेपी गवर्नमेंट होने के बावजूद इधर हिंदू वर्कर्स और बीजेपी वर्कर्स को कॉन्स्टेंटली टारगेट किया जा रहा है. एक्शन प्लान क्या है सर?
3 महीने के बीच में हर्षा और चंदू और प्रवीण का हत्या हुआ, इसके वजह से आक्रोशित है. हम सब लोग कार्यकर्ता के भावना के साथ है. आज स्वयं सीएम मॉनिटर कर रहा है, होम मिनिस्टर मॉनिटर कर रहा है. कुछ लोगों को बारे में शक है, वो लोगों के पीछे पुलिस भी है. केरल एक टीम भी भेजा है. लीगल एक्शन के साथ क्या क्या कर सकता है, कंट्रोल करने के, जेड से निकालने के क्या कर सकता है, हमारा सरकार करेगा, ये पक्का है.
सर, आपने बोला जज से निकालने के लिए क्या ज़रूरी है हम करेंगे. आपको क्या लगता है, एक प्लान्ड कॉन्स्पिरेसी है इधर, या ये इंसिडेंट्स हो रहा है तो अरेस्ट भी हो रहा है पर इंसिडेंट्स रुक नहीं रहे? सर, आपने बोला 3 हुआ है अभी 3 महीने में.
ये केवल कर्नाटक में नहीं, केरल में भी ऐसा निरंतर होता रहता है, और देश का अलग अलग जगह में ऐसा किया है. इसके वजह से इट इज़ नॉट ए आइसोलेटेड इंसिडेंट. मुझे लगता है प्लान्ड इंसिडेंट है. इसके वजह से सारे स्टेट के साथ कोऑर्डिनेशन करके जड़ से निकालने का प्रयास हर स्टेट का यहाँ करेंगे तो निकल सकता है. नहीं है तो डायरेक्ट एक्शन के जैसे वो लोग तय कर रहा है. उदयपुर का इंसिडेंट देखने के बाद, अमरावती इंसिडेंट देखने के बाद, और कावड़ी यात्रा रुकने के लिए कोशिश किया है. अलग अलग जगह में दंगा करने के लिए कोशिश कर रहा है. इसके वजह से ये प्रचोदन दे रहा है ना, वो लोगों को जड़ से निकालने के लिए कोशिश करना हमारा जिम्मेदारी है. हम लोग करेंगे, पक्का है.
सर, फाइनली क्या आप पीएफआई या एसडीपीआई पर बैन का रिकमेंडेशन करेंगे, क्योंकि ये चर्चा में है कुछ 5-6 सालों में कि बैन कीजिए. आपने बोला कुछ और स्टेट में भी रिकमेंडेशन हुआ पर कोर्ट ने स्टे दिया.
हाँ, छत्तीसगढ़ में ऐसा किया था, बट छत्तीसगढ़ में कोर्ट स्टे दिया. पहले सिमी बैन किया, सिमी के बाद नया रूप से एसडीपीआई पीएफआई शुरू किए. वो लोगों का मानसिकता किधर से आता है, वो जड़ से निकाल नहीं है तो पीएफआई बैन करेंगे, दूसरा एक नाम पर वो लोग एक्टिविटीज शुरू करता है. इसके वजह से हम लोग पूरा रूट निकालने का, जड़ निकालने का कोशिश करने के सफल हो जाएगा तो कंट्रोल कर सकता है. नहीं है तो कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकता. इसके लिए स्टेट और सेंट्रल और अलग अलग स्टेट के साथ कोऑर्डिनेशन करके एक साथ काम करेंगे तो निकाल सकता है.
Well, that was the National General Secretary of the BJP, CT Ravi, talking about the various angles coming into this entire investigation. Joining us on the broadcast are also our guest who will get us more perspective on this story. We have Mr. Mohan Krishna, who's the leader of the Karnataka BJP. We also have Mr. Gokul Chandran. He's a political analyst joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Krishna, coming to you first. A very unfortunate incident. You're facing the party and the current government is facing a lot of flack from the local workers, a lot of local Hindu organizations as well, saying that there is no law and order. They want immediate action on this matter. Your thoughts?
Absolutely, we are with the people. People have with lot of aspirations. They wanted BJP government in Karnataka, and we are there in power. Our prime aim is to take care of the law and order situation. We will take care of it. We are not perturbed by the activities of these kind of activities by the people, whoever is doing. As our National General Secretary C.T. Ravi was saying, this has to be taken out of the route from India, pan-India. It's not just happening in Karnataka, it's happening everywhere in the country. For every Hindu asthas and Hindu religion, they want to show some kind of resentment. Who is showing, why they are showing, and all these things will be revealed, and central government along with the state governments will take a appropriate action. And I will tell you something today. This barbarics should be stopped. Whatever may be the cost, whatever may be the issue, we should not care for such things. We should
Mr.
not care
Krishna.
that certain things like how we have to take care of the people's aspirations and their well-beingness is the very important thing.
Mr. Krishna, if there are extremist elements which are coming to the fore as the investigation moves forward, each time there is trouble in Karnataka, there are various organizations like PFI or other groups which are working allegedly at the behest of extremist elements who are creating trouble within the state of Karnataka. Why hasn't organizations like the PFI been banned so far in the state? I remember, if I'm correct, that some time ago, somebody from the government said they made a recommendation to the Union Home Ministry. Any idea why that recommendation has not been accepted?
It is not it is not that the recommendations has not been accepted. See, look, that's what I'm explaining again and again. See, you may feel that I am harping on opposition here. But my concern and feeling here is today, that day when we had booked the cases, when we had registered the cases against 173 people who have been acquitted without any reasons by Siddaramaiah, as soon as he came to power in Karnataka in 2013, we had booked the case in 2011. This was the same in 2010, 2008 also. So this kind of activities has to be stopped through legal. When we have to take legal actions, there should be proper evidences to ban things. How do you prove today that PFI has a link? How do you prove that STP has a link? Just by talking. We are talking here over the channel. It doesn't suffice for the court, as we know very well. Evidences are very important. We have to corroborate evidences. How do you corroborate evidences? By investigation, proper investigation, fair investigation.
So I completely agree with you. You know that merely by talking, you cannot ban an organization. You need proper evidence before the court of law. And this goes directly to the heart of the competence of the state police authorities and the investigation agencies. If there is a notorious organization whose name erupts each time there is a problem, you must gather evidence to nab them.
Say with a lot of political will, we have taken a decision to register FIR and cases against them. The investigation was on. Suddenly, when you have stopped all the investigation, how do you feel? I don't know if somebody puts a case against you and somebody, dilutes it. How do you feel? What the other community or what the person will feel who was the guilty, who was there for conviction, who has to be convicted. So these kind of activities has done in the past. So that has become vast today. It has become vast. So now we have to nab it from the bud only. We have to nab it from the bud. We are capable. We will work it out in such a way that, this kind of activities will not repeat again and again in Karnataka. And we will show it to the country that how Karnataka has managed, and country can also take care of it. And my main request to all the opposition parties is to cooperate in this, not by knocking the door of the Supreme Court, by taking the case against them and to acquit them. All these things should be stopped.
Okay.
This is the seed.
Okay, I also want to bring in Mr. Gokul Chandran into the discussion. Mr. Chandran, this is a state which has seen a certain degree of shifting of power in the last couple of years. If you look at the history of 5 to 7 years in the state of Karnataka, not to forget that once again the state is eyeing an election very, very soon in the next 12 months. How do you see instances like these which have happened in Dakshin Kannada, the death of the BJP worker, and once again a law and order situation that has erupted on the ground?
Yeah, good evening. See, my heart goes out to the family and friends of the deceased BJP Karyakarta. And though, hello?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, but then I don't know how BJP leaders in Karnataka are taking this, accepting this. They don't care about how much lives are lost. They are only caring about the corruption, how to make money, how to win next election. That is the only. Other than that,
Gokul Chandran. Come on, Gokul Chandran.
I'll come back to you. Mohan Krishna ji,
I'll
I'll come back to you and I will give you adequate time to respond. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to interrupt this discussion for a bit. My colleague Harish is also joining us on the broadcast. Harish, what more details do you have? There is a meeting which is underway at the Chief Minister's office as well with the top officials and the top mantris. Tell us more about that meeting.
Well, in fact, just a while ago, that meeting has concluded. What we understand is the Chief Minister and the Home Minister have been briefed by the DGP. In fact, 10 people have been detained now for questioning is the information that's come in. Also, the DGP of Karnataka, Praveen Sood, has spoken to his counterpart in Kerala. There's a team of Karnataka police in Kerala right now carrying out a search operation to try and nab these assailants over there. They've sought assistance from the Kerala police is what we understand. And the meeting here and the members coming out very positive that within the next few hours there will be a breakthrough in this case. That's what they are saying. There are some specific leads that are currently being pursued by this team in Kerala. There are 2 more teams on Karnataka-Kerala border as well pursuing leads. So they are very hopeful that they can crack this case. At the same time, the pressure mounting on the BJP here. In fact, C.T. Ravi spoke to me just a while ago saying that they understand that the workers of the BJP and also workers of other affiliated Hindu groups are emotional, angry as well, because there have been 3 murders in the last 3 months. The government here is saying that they will deal with this in a stringent way, and there needs to be a strategy which involves the centre and various other states to ensure that this whole mindset is uprooted. And C.T. Ravi, in fact, not very keen on a ban on PFI, saying that, well, a ban might not help the cause. You might have the same members coming out in a different name and floating a new organization. He says this needs to be tackled by governments for the state or centre and the society as a whole.
I'm just going to reiterate on that bit, Harish, that you just said in the beginning of your live. You said that in few hours from now, there could be a breakthrough that they could put out in the public domain. Are we expecting a press conference, or in the recently concluding meeting with the Chief Minister, was he apprised of the key leads which have emerged in the investigation so far? And if you have any information on those leads that have emerged.
Well, there might not be a press conference, but there is a very specific lead that the police team is working on. 6 teams that are currently working on this case. And the primary suspicion is that this is a retaliatory killing that happened after Masood was killed on the 19th and he succumbed on the 21st. And they believe it's a retaliatory killing. Remember, he is from Kasaragod in Kerala, and perhaps that's where one of the teams of Karnataka police is on the ground trying to nab these assailants in pursuit of them. And that's a specific lead. There's more that's been shared with the Chief Minister by the DGP, and they've also sought assistance from Kerala Police. So they are very hopeful that they're on the right track and they have leads that will become a concrete, perhaps take this whole investigation towards a logical end.
All right, Harish, as you continue to get us all those details, I'm going to go back to our guests, Mr. Mohan Krishna and Gokul Chandran, who continue to be with us on the show. Mr. Chandran, you had some not so good things to say about the government. The government is saying, and the Chief Minister has recently held a meeting. We're also expecting, as my colleague was pointing out, in few hours we will have some leads put out in the public domain. What are the reasons you're blaming the government for this incident?
See, this is not the first incident that has happened. In the past 3-4 months, we had lot of incidents where BJP workers were killed by PFI, and we had many discussions. Somewhere in April 2022, I remember in the same channel, we were discussing about the ban on PFI. And at that time, there were clues that Centre is going to ban PFI very soon. But nothing happened. no action from the state or center has taken place so that some curb will be put on PFI and the PFI is allowed to grow in Karnataka and all over India. When you talk about Karnataka and Kerala, these are the two breeding grounds of PFI, and both the state governments, I don't blame only the Karnataka state government, the state government of Karnataka as well as the state government of Kerala want PFI to grow so that they can communally divide the people and garner votes.
Okay,
let
me take a reaction from Mohan Krishna as well. Mr. Krishna, the allegation is that you're not banning PFI so that these nefarious elements. All right, we right now have Mr. D.K. Sivakumar from the Karnataka Congress joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Sivakumar, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, sir. A very unfortunate incident has happened in Dakshin Kannada. Your thoughts on it?
No, already about some 23 murders have taken place like this. And so many have been held and some of them have been arrested, some of them not been arrested. Even in Shimoga also, there was a planning to just kill some minorities also. Last week also, some minority also was been there. Today, an Hindu activist has been killed. It is very unfortunate. The Congress party would like to condemn it. We want government to take action immediately. Government is not taking immediate action immediately. I think whatever is responsible, it is a law and order failure of the government of Karnataka. I think this is what, no question of blaming on any others and putting. It is their duty to protect all the people. It is not only their workers. It is everyone worker, everyone citizen. They have taken a oath that they will protect everyone. It is their duty.
Mr. Sivakumar, as we speak in Dakshin Kannada's Bellar village, a family is grieved, and at the same time there is a very tense situation on the ground. The Chief Minister has recently concluded a meeting, and we also had leaders like C.T. Ravi who said that there is no point in banning an organization like PFI. We need to actually deal with them. These nefarious elements or certain activities of PFI or other organizations are always a talking point each time there is a problem in Karnataka. Is there a need for a ban on PFI?
Yeah, the government has to take a call on it. It is the government decision. We had already reiterated that it has to be very seriously look into it. But they are encouraging it as a political unit or as a different type of unit. Now I think Karnataka has to be saved. Action has to be taken. Whoever is responsible for all these type of activities.
Sir, in the last few months, as you pointed out, there are multiple murders that have come to the light. Various communal incidents have unfortunately also unfolded in Karnataka. The BJP claims that in the last government, there were multiple cases that were taken back and the Congress party did not do their job while being in power. And that is why we have to clean up this mess. How do you respond to that charge, sir?
No, this is the failure of the BJP government. Congress government is not in power. When people, though they have not given them the number mandate with Operation Lotus, they have come to power. They should perform. Either they should perform or they should quit. That is what even the BJP workers also are telling. If they are not able to perform, let them quit. We will know, we will deal with the situation.
Sir, the state is not too far away from the elections, and any kind of communal tensions in any part of the state is not good news for any political party.
Yeah, yes, I fully agree with you. But who are in the helm of affairs should deal it in the law and order should be on the priority.
As a responsible opposition, sir, what are your key demands from the present chief?
Just take action immediately. Let the law take its own course. Don't be merciful. One side you are encouraging all this type of activities. One side you are encouraging moral policing. And one time you are not taking action on any of your workers. You are closing all the cases of corruption. You are closing all the other cases which your party has been connected. This is bad in the law. This is law connected to the state.
So my last question before you take our leave is the fact that BJP accuses the Congress party of politicizing issue like these. They say it's a law and order situation. We are going to deal with it. But the Congress party is politicizing the issue for their own gains. Please respond to that, sir.
We are not spoken. The BJP, since it is not able to manage this, they are not able to control this. BJP is trying to politicize, that's all. Congress is never interfered with us. We mercilessly we deal. Now also we are telling them to deal mercilessly. Whoever has done a mistake, you handle it. You are not able to handle it, you are only trying to comment on others.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast and giving us your time. That was KPCC Chief Mr. D.K. Shivakumar saying that the government must act and they should not hide behind any kind of excuses. We also have Mr. Mohan Krishna of the BJP with us on the broadcast. Mr. Krishna, you just heard Mr. D.K. Shivakumar. Would you like to respond to any point?
Mr. D.K. Shivakumar doesn't have morale to talk about anything, because when you ask that question, you have taken out the cases when you came to power. Did he answer to that? No, because he knows that they have done a mistake. That's why they have been thrown out of the power. From 122, they have come to 78. Today, where they are standing Congress because of this appeasement. Why their appeasement is going on like this? Is D.K. Shivakumar, can he answer to DJLD, KJLD issue? Can he answer to the Belgaum issue? Can he answer to the Harsha's death? He is talking about law and order. If they are not, we are capable, Mr. D.K. Shivakumar. We will take care of it. You don't worry. People have faith on us and we will take care of that. You take care of things which you have to take care for yourself.
Mr. Mohan Krishna, we really hope that as a responsible government in the state, proper action is taken and there are no further incidents of this nature which are reported. The law and order is maintained on the ground. That's what we are hoping. My colleague Harish and Ritu reporting from the ground. Mr. Mohan Krishna, Gokul Chandran, and we also had Mr. D.K. Shivakumar joining us on the broadcast. We're slipping into a very short break.
For Uddhav Thackeray, it's now purely about existence. सरकार गई, अभी party and symbol भी चला जाएगा.
Question the fact that recruitment is happening based on caste and religion. That is actually completely deviating from what the point is, and you could actually be misleading the youth.
So is there acknowledgement from the court that some of the comments that they made on the 1st of July may have had a role in the subsequent events where the death and rape threats to Nupur Sharma increased manifold?
Governments of the day in Haryana have failed to really control this menace. A criminal can kill in a broad daylight with nothing happening against him, and even if there is an action, the cop's life won't be back.
United States is concerned, there's a 40% risk and the odds for Europe are greater than 1 is in 2. So more than 50 to 55% chance of recession in Europe. Recession will pull down the prices of commodities globally, as also the value of assets across the world. Meanwhile, Olympic champion and World Championship silver medalist javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has pulled out of the Commonwealth Games. Chopra has a groin injury. He's been advised a month's rest by his doctors. Neeraj Chopra is defending champion at the CWG, which begins in Birmingham on Thursday. Boxer and Olympic medalist Lavlina Borgohain's personal coach Sandhya Gurung has received her accreditation for the Commonwealth Games. This comes a day after Lavlina alleged mental harassment by the authorities, who denied entry to her coaches to the Games village. After Bollywood star Ranveer Singh broke the internet last week with his nude photo shoot for a magazine, a case has now been filed against the actor. The complainant has accused Ranveer of hurting the sentiments of women and insulting their modesty because of his photographs. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of moral policing has come to light in Mangaluru in Karnataka, reminiscent of what happened in 2009.
Bajrang Dal members barged into a pub and disrupted a party that was organized by a group of college students. The right-wing group asked the staff to stop the event, alleging that the students were indulging in some illegal activities. They objected to the girls partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers and chased them away.
Beijing and Islamabad's latest move on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project has left India fuming. China and Pakistan are now inviting third countries to join the project. The MEA has called this move illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable. The CPEC is part of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It was launched in 2013 to improve Pakistan's connectivity corridor. It in fact passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and that is something that India has pointed out on a number of occasions to the Chinese. Its incessant rains have wreaked havoc across Rajasthan, in particular in Jodhpur.
Heavy flooding in Jodhpur led to several vehicles being washed away. These dramatic pictures show helpless locals looking on as cars are dragged away by strong flood waters. Similar scenes were witnessed in Tonk. The road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding.
Welcome back, and there's some breaking news which is coming in from Tamil Nadu. This is a case of yet another suicide in the state. In this case, a 12th grade boy student died due to suicide in Kairakudi district. Body of the student has been handed over to the parents. Preliminary investigation revealed that the boy was allegedly under stress as he wasn't able to score good marks. This is the case of 5th death in the last 2 weeks. A very, very unfortunate incident. Purnima Muli with us on the broadcast. Purnima, tell us more about this.
Well, very tragic events unfolding in Tamil Nadu, where at least 5 students, either in 11th or 12th grade, have committed suicide in the last 2 weeks. So, yet another suicide case has been reported in the last 24 hours, especially where a 12th grade boy student had committed suicide in Karaikudi in Sivaganga district, and initial investigation reveals that he was also stressed because of scoring low marks, and the postmortem was over. The parents have collected the body, but at the moment, this is the 5th such case. Many of them are currently being probed by the CBCID. Remember, the Madras High Court said that any such cases should immediately be transferred to the CBCID for thorough probe. Therefore, this is the 5th such incident, and the case has now been transferred to the CBCID for further investigation.
Purnima, India has a very poor track record when it comes to suicide among youth, especially among students. But somehow Tamil Nadu and the cases coming in from the state stand out on this grim curve.
Absolutely. Over the last 2 days specifically, there have been 3 such suicide cases reported. One from Sivaganga, one case from Sivaganga district, one from Kadalur district, and third, the recent one also from Sivaganga district. So it's a huge concern, and this is something that the Tamil Nadu government and the state chief minister has time and again reiterated, that students should not be worried about scoring low marks, and that there should be counseling given to students specifically in the 11th and 12th grade, because of the sudden increase in cases in Tamil Nadu. It's a concern, and the Tamil Nadu government is also now trying to look into this, considering that the numbers have increased over the last 2 weeks. But very tragic cases reported in the state, especially over the last 48 hours, that 3 such cases have been reported.
Purnima, very unfortunate, as you rightly said, and the state government must step in to ease the pressure as and when they can. And of course, parents have a huge role to play into it. But take us through the cases that we have seen in the last 2 weeks. About 5 to 6 cases have been reported?
Well, so far 5 cases have been reported. The first was a 12th grade student from Kallakuruchi, after which we saw violence erupted outside the school premises. In that case, the parents alleged foul play, and therefore there was a thorough investigation by the CBCID. However, after that, on the 25th of July was when 2 more cases were reported. One of a 12th grade student from Tiruvallur district, and another 12th grade student from Kadalur district. Yesterday, yet another incident was reported where from Sivaganga district, where another 12th grade student committed suicide. In many such cases, parents parents say that there's foul play. And today, the fifth such case was reported from the same Sivaganga district where a 17-year-old boy was found hanging. So that's the latest. But 5 such cases within a span of 2 weeks, starting from the 13th of July till now.
Very, very distressing, and we hope that the families reach out to the children who are very stressed due to examination. It's a difficult phase, but this is not that all life is about, and we hope that the government also steps in into this matter. He is talking about what the Supreme Court said on the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The Apex Court pronounced its judgment on the constitutional validity of the various provisions of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, the PMLA. The top court has upheld all PMLA provisions under the challenge. Issues relating to certain amendments that were brought through the finance bill route, they would be heard by a larger bench that has been kept in abeyance. Remember, more than 100 petitions on various aspects of the PMLA had been grouped together, they had been clubbed together, and they were heard by a bench. The judgment addressed several issues concerning the powers of investigation, summoning of witnesses, the power of arrest and seizure, and also the procedure of bail under the stringent provisions of the PMLA. We had some reactions coming in. Listen in.
यह विषय जो उठा रहे हैं कांग्रेस पार्टी वाले, ये न देश के लिए है आवश्यक, न ही पार्टी के लिए। ये एक परिवार को बचाने की एक कुत्सित प्रयास है और परिवार को ही बचाने का प्रयास चल रहा है। करोड़ों रुपए का घोटाला हुआ है। उस घोटाले के बारे में एजेंसीज को जवाब देना ये उनकी आवश्यकता है, लेकिन यह परिवार अपने आप को देश से ऊपर, कानून से ऊपर समझता है। Court has just now upheld the PMLA and the ED's jurisdiction, and the Supreme Court has said very clearly that they have that jurisdiction, and PMLA is within the ambit of the legal ambit in which it is working. It has been upheld by Supreme Court, and we should respect the Constitution, we should respect the law, and we should respect the law of the land.
Why is Congress running away from the probe? What do they have to hide? See, the big question is whether whether the Gandhi family is above law. There should be a separate law for the Gandhi family. Why are they running away from the agencies? The only big question arises is that they are also answerable to the agencies like any other Indian. They should face the probe.
The Prevention of Money Laundering Act is a specific act. The object and the purpose of the act is to prevent money laundering and take action against black money or proceeds of crime. Now, when the court was looking at these challenges, the nexus of the object with what the section provides has obviously been upheld. So therefore, the act is there is no challenge. The challenge does not succeed. So now that the challenge to the act itself or the sections is over, it should bring closure to the issue. Everyone had a full opportunity to go out there, put their arguments, and now a reasoned judgment has come, and that should be the final word.
And we have a reaction coming in from the Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot on this issue. Mr. Gehlot calls the Supreme Court decision disappointing and worrying. He further argues that this decision will possibly lead to political use of ED by the central government and the misuse will increase further. That's what Mr. Gehlot is saying. My colleague and our senior editor Pallavi Ghosh is joining us on the broadcast. Pallavi, tell us more about the statement.
See, it's interesting because till now, whenever we've been asking for reactions from the Congress party on what the court had to say today, they were very, very careful and not to make any comments on a court's verdict. But, Ashok Gehlot also held a press conference early this morning, and his first reaction clearly is, that it's unfortunate, the kind of verdict which has come from the Supreme Court, because according to him, it's something which would also embolden the ED and the government. And, they've maintained their stand, really, Alisha, that somewhat the fact remains that ED and CBI are always used to specifically target the political opponents of the present government.
All right, Pallavi, thank you so much for getting us all those details. Ananya is also joining us from the Supreme Court, getting us all the perspective of that very crucial judgment that has come out. Ananya, all the points that the central government had raised before the Apex Court bench have been upheld. They have been accepted. And the PMLA and most of the sections as they stand are good in law. There are no changes.
where definitely, Anusha, the Supreme Court, in a landmark judgment rendered by Justice A.M. Kanwilkar, Justice D.M. Dinesh Maheshwari and Justice C.T. Ramakumar, has upheld almost all the provisions that were under challenge, whether it's the special power to arrest under Section 19, whether it's the admissibility of the statements before the court of law under Section 50. All of this has been upheld. The only thing that has been changed is that the predicate offence has to stay until and unless a predicate offence is not there. The conviction under the scheduled offence would go away as soon as a predicate person is acquitted under the predicate offence. So this is something that has come to the contrary, but all of the other sections, which include the power to seize and arrest, the power to in fact search, and in fact also the Section 3 and the Section 5 definitions of the PMLA and how the seizures are to be done, how a person can be arrested, and the most important one, that the ECIR is an internal document of the Enforcement Directorate, and hence it is on the prerogative of the ED whether to share it with the accused or not share it with the accused. It is not under the law. But after the statement of Rajasthan Chief Minister, who is basically disappointed with the verdict, which is very, very unusual, because all of these provisions, unless apart from the 45 amendment, all of these were since from the Congress's time, and in fact the chief architect of PMLA was Mr. P. Chidambaram. He was the then finance minister when this in fact act had come in, and now the Congress is playing foul on the in fact the whole case. So something
but as you rightly pointed out, Ananya, that most of the very important section, including Section 3 and 5, most of the important sections pertaining to arrest, search, seizure, to summon, evidence, bail have been upheld by the Supreme Court, barring the predicate offences bit that Ananya was talking about. Mr. R.P. Singh is also joining us. Mr. Singh, there's a reaction coming in from Mr. Ashok Gehlot. He says it's disappointing what the Supreme Court has said today. How do you respond?
Well, chor ki dadi mein tinka. Since they know they have done wrong and they have bungled with the public money, so they were worried. And I don't know why shall be anyway what the money which is being earned through illicit means or through illegal means or through corrupt means. Why shall be they support that? And if the court is supporting the authorities to bring out the black money, so what's the problem with them? But as Congress is, they always raise question on Supreme Court. It's not the first time they are talking about that that there's a situation like emergency in country. But fact is, they don't believe in any agency of the country. I mean, they don't believe in Supreme Court also. Now they're challenging the Supreme Court.
Sir, there's one point Mr. Gehlot made, and it's only fair that I take a reaction from you. Is that this judgment in some way will help the government to misuse the agencies? That's what Mr. Gehlot has argued.
Well, they have a court for that. They can, I mean, if you feel that some agency is not doing justice to them, they can go to court. Or in this case of Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi, they went to the Supreme Court and they went to High Court. They went to other courts also, and their appeal was rejected. So, I mean, what's the other way out? The only option is that they can go to court if they feel that agencies are being misused. But they can't raise question on court now. They've been raising question on, this is not the first time, Ram Mandir or otherwise, they have been raising question on the judgments of the court now.
Well, sir, that's the predicament. Whichever side doesn't like the judgment starts criticizing the court. That has been the unfortunate political trend. But thank you, Mr. R.P. Singh, for joining us on the broadcast and getting us more details and your perspective on that story. We'll talk about this and much more here on CNN News 18. Slipping into a short break.
CNN News 18 is New India's #1 news choice. Unprecedented 13-week leadership.
To 55% chance of recession in Europe. Recession will pull down the prices of commodities globally, as also the value of assets across the world. Meanwhile, Olympic champion and World Championship silver medalist javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has pulled out of the Commonwealth Games. Chopra has a groin injury. He's been advised a month's rest by his doctors. Neeraj Chopra is defending champion at the CWG, which begins in Birmingham on Thursday. Boxer and Olympic medalist Lavlina Borgohain's personal coach Sandhya Gurung has received her accreditation for the Commonwealth Games. This comes a day after Lavlina alleged mental harassment by the authorities, who denied entry to her coaches to the Games village. After Bollywood star Ranveer Singh broke the internet last week with his nude photo shoot for a magazine, a case has now been filed against the actor. The complainant has accused Ranveer of hurting the sentiments of women and insulting their modesty because of his photographs. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of moral policing has come to light in Mangaluru in Karnataka, reminiscent of what happened in 2009.
Bajrang Dal members barged into a pub and disrupted a party that was organized by a group of college students. The right-wing group asked the staff to stop the event, alleging that the students were indulging in some illegal activities. They objected to the girls partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers and chased them away.
Beijing and Islamabad's latest move on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project has left India fuming. China and Pakistan are now inviting third countries to join the project. The MEA has called this move illegal, illegitimate and unacceptable. The CPEC is part of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It was launched in 2013 to improve Pakistan's connectivity corridor. It in fact passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and that is something that India has pointed out on a number of occasions to the Chinese. Its incessant rains have wreaked havoc across Rajasthan, in particular in Jodhpur.
Heavy flooding in Jodhpur led to several vehicles being washed away. These dramatic pictures show helpless locals looking on as cars are dragged away by strong flood waters. Similar scenes were witnessed in Tonk. The road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding in Rajasthan is because the rivers across the state seem to be in spate.
Due to torrential rains for more than a week, water levels in rivers have increased. This man was trying to cross a bridge, but the water was flowing so fast that he got stuck. Thankfully, some locals rushed in and managed to rescue him. Almost all the dams in the state are full, and authorities have been forced to open the gates and release excess water. But many are making the most of the situation and enjoying the abundance.
Welcome back, and there's a massive political controversy that has erupted over Kanwar Yatra. AIMIM chief Mr. Asaduddin Owaisi has taken a jibe at the warmth with which Kanwariyas are greeted by the administration. The leader argued that while Kanwariyas are showered with petals, the authorities should at least spare the Muslims and not use bulldozers on their houses. Sharing several news reports about the Kanwar Yatra, Owaisi said, and I'm quoting, "If a Muslim offers prayer in an open area for a few minutes, it leads to a row. Muslims are facing police bullets, custodial clashes, NSA, UAPA, lynchings, bulldozers, just for being Muslims," unquote. Meanwhile, BJP has defended the tradition, saying that the government makes arrangements for all religious festivals. The reactions.
तो ये आप डिस्क्रिमिनेशन कर रहे हैं एक समुदाय के खिलाफ, जो भारत के संविधान के खिलाफ है। भाई आर्टिकल 25 का हवाला देंगे भाजपा वाले, भाई इसमें आप बताइए, आर्टिकल 25 का हवाला देंगे, इसमें कौन सा इसमें वो हो रहा है कि पब्लिक यहाँ पर किसी को तकलीफ हो रही है, किसी को हार्म हो रहा है नमाज पढ़ने से, कोई फसाद हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है ना, तो आप इक्वली ट्रीट करिए। क्यों नहीं इक्वली ट्रीट करते? आपका नारा है सबका साथ, सबका विकास, सबका विश्वास, तो आप तो वो तो निस्बत कायम नहीं है।
AIMIM के मुखिया जो आए दिन ये जहर उगलने का काम करते हैं, समाज को बांटने की कोशिश करते हैं, अपना वोट बैंक बढ़ाने के लिए इस प्रकार के बयान दे करके चर्चा में आने का असफल प्रयास करते हैं, इससे उनको बाज आना चाहिए। अगर कांवर यात्रा चलती है तो उसमें लाखों करोड़ों लोग देश भर में निकलते हैं, और उस पर इस प्रकार के सवाल उठाने वालों का मैं समझता हूं कि मानसिक संतुलन ही बिगड़ गया है। वह इस प्रकार का दृश्य देख नहीं पा रहे हैं, बर्दाश्त नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, लेकिन इस प्रकार के लोगों को महत्व नहीं देना चाहिए।
Our UP Bureau Chief Pranshu Mishra is joining us on the broadcast. Pranshu, you were talking about the strategic silence of most of the opposition parties in the state of Uttar Pradesh over Mr. Owaisi's statement.
Yes, and that's why, in fact, that has been a very established trajectory. And even before the elections, when Mr. Owaisi was, all charged up attacking the BJP, he was never endorsed. His attacks were never endorsed by mainstream opposition parties. That is again the fact. In fact, the entire Kanwar Yatra issue, though many opposition leaders opted out to say that the state government machinery is being used to, patronize a particular religion, Hindu religion in this case, no one actually comes out and makes an official charge about it. Mr. Owaisi has done so, and opposition parties again will not, comment on it because they feel this Mr. Owaisi's stake, the political stakes of Mr. Owaisi, at the end of the day, always serve the purpose of the Bharatiya Janata Party. They ignite the debate in which the ultimate gainer is the Bharatiya Janata Party. And that's the reason why no party is responding. They have not spoken on the Kanwar Yatra issue. And they are most likely not going to respond to what Mr. Owaisi has said.
Thank you, Pranshu, for giving us that political analysis and context of Mr. Owaisi's statement. We'll continue talking about the story. Much more lined up on the other side of a very quick break. Stay tuned.
After getting alerted by locals, police and SDRF personnel rushed to the site to rescue him.
Is India at the risk of slipping into a recession? Here's what a Bloomberg survey of economists says. Right now, according to them, there is zero probability of India slipping into a recession. Experts say that the global impact on India will be moderate. In the short term, Sri Lanka has an 85% probability of going into recession. In fact, all of Asia, the Asian continent, has a 20 to 25% chance of slipping into recession. As far as the United States is concerned, there's a 40% risk, and the odds for Europe are greater than 1 is in 2. So more than 50 to 55% chance of recession in Europe. Recession will pull down the prices of commodities globally, as also the value of assets across the world. Meanwhile, Olympic champion and World Championship silver medalist javelin thrower Neeraj Chopra has pulled out of the Commonwealth Games. Chopra has a groin injury. He's been advised a month's rest by his doctors. Neeraj Chopra is defending champion at the CWG, which begins in Birmingham on Thursday. Boxer and Olympic medalist Lavlina Borgohain's personal coach Sandhya Gurung has received her accreditation for the Commonwealth Games. This comes a day after Lavlina alleged mental harassment by the authorities, who denied entry to her coaches to the Games village. After Bollywood star Ranveer Singh broke the internet last week with his nude photo shoot for a magazine, a case has now been filed against the actor. The complainant has accused Ranveer of hurting the sentiments of women and insulting their modesty because of his photographs. Meanwhile, a shocking incident of moral policing has come to light in Mangaluru in Karnataka, reminiscent of what happened in 2009.
Bajrang Dal members barged into a pub and disrupted a party that was organized by a group of college students. The right-wing group asked the staff to stop the event, alleging that the students were indulging in some illegal activities. They objected to the girls partying there and asked the students to leave the pub. According to the police, the Bajrang Dal members approached the bouncers and asked them if the minor students were being served alcohol. In 2009, at the same pub, members of the Sri Ram Sena had similarly attacked customers and chased them away.
Beijing and Islamabad's latest move on the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project has left India fuming. China and Pakistan are now inviting third countries to join the project. The MEA has called this move illegal, illegitimate, and unacceptable. The CPEC is part of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. It was launched in 2013 to improve Pakistan's connectivity corridor. It in fact passes through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and that is something that India has pointed out on a number of occasions to the Chinese. Its incessant rains have wreaked havoc across Rajasthan, in particular in Jodhpur.
Heavy flooding in Jodhpur led to several vehicles being washed away. These dramatic pictures show helpless locals looking on as cars are dragged away by strong flood waters. Similar scenes were witnessed in Tonk. The road in the middle of this market turned into a river, washing away everything in sight. People tried in vain to hold on to their bikes, but the current was too strong and they fell into a drain. In Kota, one man tried to drive his SUV on a bridge over an overflowing river, but the car soon got submerged and had to be pulled out with the help of a crane.
Now, the big reason for such large-scale flooding in Rajasthan is because the rivers across the state seem to be in spate.
Due to torrential rains for more than a week, water levels in rivers have increased. This man was trying to cross a bridge, but the water was flowing so fast that he got stuck.
Welcome back in a quick check of some key stories from across the country. Several adjournments and ruckus continue to disrupt both the houses of the parliament today as well. Rajya Sabha was adjourned for the day while Lok Sabha resumed work at 2 p.m. The Congress party says that it will continue to protest both inside and outside the parliament on key issues like inflation, GST, misuse of agencies by the government. The opposition parties led by the Congress protested outside the parliament under the Mahatma Gandhi statue over the issues like inflation and GST. The opposition leaders have said that they will keep raising these issues in parliament for the citizens of the country.
जो बहुत बड़ा जीएसटी लगाया गया है वो सामान्य जनता के हित में नहीं है। सदन में हम लगातार इसको लेकर हम आवाज उठा रहे हैं। सस्पेंशन का विड्रॉल के लिए हम स्पीकर के पास और चेयरमैन साहब के पास अपना दरखास्त रखेंगे। ईडी तो बार बार धमकी दे रहे, हमारे को लोग कोई डरने वाले नहीं।
People of India can see that the BJP party do not want a discussion on price rise. Therefore, they keep suspending opposition MPs in Lok Sabha, in Rajya Sabha. They don't accept discussion. They are turning this parliament, this beautiful parliament, into an empty building, a hollow symbol of democracy. They want to convert it into their party headquarters, where only Modi ji ki jai jai will happen, but the problems of the people of India will not be answered.
সাধারণ মানুষ খেতে পাচ্ছে না চিড়ে মুড়ি বাতাসা দুধ দই সাধারণ গরিব মানুষ খায় তাদের পেট্রোল ডিজেল রান্নার গ্যাসের দামও 100 টাকা 1000 টাকা ছাড়িয়ে গেছে এবং চিড়ে মুড়ি বাতাসা এসবের উপর জিএসটি লাগানোয় সাধারণ মানুষ অসুবিধায় আছে তাই আমরা তার প্রতিবাদে সংসদের ভেতরে এবং বাইরে গান্ধী মূর্তির পাদদেশে অবস্থান বিক্ষোভ আন্দোলন করছি
The Congress leaders further marched from the Parliament House towards Rashtrapati Bhavan as a mark of protest against the government over suspension of MPs. The police asked the leaders to go back. However, senior Congress leaders like Jairam Ramesh, Ajay Makan, who refused, were detained by the police.
आज भी हमारे कांग्रेस सांसदों को गिरफ्तार किया गया है। ये लोकतंत्र की हत्या है। पार्लियामेंट के अंदर महंगाई और जीएसटी पर बहस नहीं होने दे रही है मोदी सरकार। हमारे आवाज़ हम उठा रहे हैं और हमें आज फिर से गिरफ्तार किया गया है और अब भगवान ही जाने, प्रधानमंत्री ही जाने, गृहमंत्री ही जाने हमें कहाँ ले जाएगा आज।
Congress chief Sonia Gandhi left the ED office after her third round of questioning in an alleged money laundering case. The third round ended today. Mrs. Gandhi was quizzed for about 3 hours, which started at 11 a.m. and continued till 2 p.m. She will not have to appear before ED till further summons are issued against her.
जो बात हो रही है सो हो रही है मतलब अब ये गवर्नमेंट मतलब गलत इस्तेमाल कर रही है अब क्या करें इसके बारे में बीजेपी का टूल है इलेक्शन टूल है और मतलब सबको परेशान करने का टूल है ना तो महिलाओं के बारे में सोच रहे हैं ना उनकी सुरक्षा के बारे में सबको घसीटा जा रहा है ये प्रशासन जो कर रही है खाली बीजेपी के कहने पे कर रही है
कांग्रेस लोकतंत्र पर हमला करने में कभी पीछे नहीं हटी संवैधानिक पदों पर बैठे लोगों पर भी हमला करती रही प्रशंसन खड़े करती रही और ये तो अपनी सरकार में भी ऑर्डिनेंस को फाड़ते रहे इनके लिए नई बात नहीं है क्योंकि एक परिवार अपने आप को देश के कानून और जांच एजेंसियों से ऊपर समझता है अब देश के सामने सवाल ये खड़ा होता है कि क्या गांधी परिवार देश के कानून से ऊपर है
Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has announced a ban on the production and use of plastic-coated and laminated goods. A press statement from the government added that single-use plastic items, including cups, plates, spoons, have already been banned but continue to be in circulation as paper products, even though they are plastic laminated or coated. As India is celebrating 75 glorious years of independence under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav initiative, ITBP troops posed with the tricolour at a height of about 12,000 feet in Ladakh with the message Har Ghar Tiranga. The soldiers also urged the citizens to hoist tricolour in their homes from 13th to 15th of August. JKLF chief Yasin Malik has fallen ill and he has been shifted to a hospital from Delhi's Tihar jail. Malik was on a hunger strike since July 22nd in protest against denial of his fundamental rights by Government of India and presently is in a serious condition. The JKLF chief is in custody since 2019 when NIA arrested him in a terror funding case and is currently facing trial in the Rubaiya Saeed's kidnapping case. CBI has arrested Bhola Yadav, a former officer on special duty to then Railway Minister Lalu Prasad Yadav for alleged involvement in the Land for Jobs scam. Bhola Yadav is alleged to be the kingpin in the scam. Searches have started in Darbhanga and Patna. In a tragic incident, at least 39 people have lost their lives and more than 60 were admitted to different hospitals after consuming spurious liquor in Gujarat's Botar district. Some of the patients are in critical condition. The Gujarat ATS and Ahmedabad Crime Branch have also joined the investigation. Aam Aadmi Party staged a protest in front of BJP headquarters at 1 p.m. today. The protest was against the Hooch tragedy in Gujarat. AAP leader Durgesh Pathak has alleged that in a tweet that people lost their lives after consuming this liquor sold under the patronage of the BJP government in the state. The Manali-Leh National Highway has been closed due to heavy landslides and shooting stones at Himachal Pradesh Nehru Kund. The landslide had occurred on Tuesday night. The Border Road Organisation has started the restoration and clearing of the road. Heavy rains continue to lash several districts of Telangana, including Hyderabad, where an alert has been declared for today. Visuals from different parts of the city reveal severe flooding in low-lying areas, partially submerging vehicles and makeshift homes. Chief Minister KCR, who's in Delhi, has asked for all district officials to be more vigilant and move people to relief camps.
Water from two main reservoirs here in Hyderabad, that is the Himayat Sagar as well as the Osman Sagar. The excessive water discharged from that has now flown into the Musi River, which is the lifeline of the twin cities of Hyderabad and Secunderabad really, and you can see that this is exactly the plight of what is exactly a bridge.
Namaste, you're on The Nation at 5. I'm Anand Narsiman coming to you live from the newsroom here at CNN News 18. Right at the top of this midweek edition of The Nation at 5, we turn the spotlight towards Bhopal, the death of Nishank Rathore under very, very mysterious circumstances, and the mystery is all around this Mazhabi post, the Mazhabi message that he sent across to his father, and what the cops initially very clearly said is a case of suicide, now is shrouded in mystery. So much so that the Home Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Narottam Mishra, has actually assigned this entire case to the SIT. And that is because of a series of posts on social media, message sent to his father and post on Facebook, that then draw questions on what actually happened. Was there an external factor, or did this young boy, Nishank, commit suicide 32 kilometers away from Bhopal in the Barkhera police station? Now, the timeline itself is very, very interesting, but like I said, the SIT has to get to the bottom of it, because there are plenty of unanswered questions on either aspect, whether it is murder by radicals, or whether it is suicide committed by a youngster. And is there an angle of cryptocurrency? That's another part that has got to be ascertained. Most importantly, the post-mortem report confirms that he died because of being run over by a train. So the injuries to his body are not on the upper half of the body, it's on the lower half, cut from the thigh, and it is because the train ran over. But did he jump or was he pushed? These are questions which remain. And interestingly, the family is convinced that he was under no mental distress and that they could not have committed or he could not have ended his own life. He had no reason to do so. Now let's try and understand the timeline. And the timeline is what, piques the intrigue and the interest. Around 4 p.m. on the 24th of July, at 4:08, he took a scooter and he left his home. He left Bhopal's TT Nagar. Now this scooter, this black Activa, is actually a hired one. That's what the cops are saying. But he left on this scooter. He reaches to this area that is a Barkheda petrol pump nearly an hour later at 5:09 p.m. He's been captured on CCTV camera, tanking up, filling 400 rupees worth of petrol. He's alone. He's without a helmet. His face can be clearly seen and he looks relaxed, normal in the CCTV footage. And he also uses the phone to make the payment. So till 4:09 p.m. he has the phone access. There is nobody around him. So he does not seem to be under any duress or in the company of any other people. Then the place where he commits suicide is 6 kilometers from where he filled petrol. Just 6 kilometers along the same railway line, because this petrol bunk is on the highway. So the murder or the death has happened 6 kilometers from the point where he's filled petrol. Now, look at the timeline. This petrol filling is at 5:09 p.m. At 5:44 p.m., Nishank's father has got a Sar Tan Se Juda message on WhatsApp, and this was shared by Nishank. He has sent it to him. The cops say that Nishank downloaded this message, or this message that purportedly says Gustakhe Rasool ki ek hi saza Sar Tan Se Juda. This message he has downloaded around 5:26 p.m. He sent it to his father. This post has been, and there is a photo and post shared on Facebook at 5:50 p.m. and also at Instagram at 5:48 p.m. and at 5:50 p.m. on Facebook. So clearly it's gotten shared. So what you post on Instagram, he may have had the fact that it will also be put up on Facebook. So it is also relayed on Facebook. Now, let's understand the timeline. At 6:05, the GT Express past that area, passes Barkheda station and passes that. At 6:13, you have the Shirdi Express that came on and passed the track, the same track. It's the train driver or the locomotive driver of the Shirdi Express at 6:13 who relays to the control room at Barkheda station that I have seen a body on the track. Please investigate and please find out. And that's when they realize that there is a youngster and there is a body that's been found. So this means that Nishank was alive till 6 p.m. From 5:09 when he is at Barkheda petrol pump till 6 p.m. or 6:05, what transpired at that time along with these posts are a few questions which remain. Did he meet somebody there? Was somebody around there? Because he's parked his vehicle on the side of the road. He's locked the vehicle, but the cops have not found the key. They found his phone, they found his body, but they have not found the key to the bike. The bike is at the police station at this point. They broke the lock and they've taken the bike there. Manoj Sharma has gone down on ground and done an in-depth investigation into what transpired and also been to the exact spot, 32 kilometers from TT Nagar in Bhopal at the Barkheda station. Have a look at this.
एसआईटी की जांच में एक बड़ा सवाल ये भी है कि आखिर निशांक राठौर पेट्रोल डलवाने के बाद अपने घर क्यों नहीं पहुंचा, अपने गांव क्यों नहीं पहुंचा। यही वो पेट्रोल पंप है भोपाल के पास बरखेड़ा में, और ये जो पेट्रोल पंप है निशांक राठौर की जहां पर लाश मिली है रेलवे ट्रैक पर, ये साथ ही साथ रेलवे ट्रैक से लगा हुआ ये पेट्रोल पंप हाईवे पर है, और जो लाश मिली है उससे इसकी दूरी तकरीबन 6 किलोमीटर है। और जो नंदवंशी हैं इन्होंने यहाँ पर आपने पेट्रोल डाला था। कितने बजे आए थे वो?
आए थे 5:09 पे। फोन पे करा उन्होंने, 400 का पेट्रोल डलाया और निकल गए।
ये फोन पे देखिए, यहाँ पर फोन पे से यहाँ पर फोन पे किया निशांक ने, इसके बाद 400 रुपये का पेट्रोल डलवाया। तो कुछ ऐसी अलग बात आपको दिखी थी क्या?
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं दिखा, ऐसा कुछ नहीं दिखा। बस आए हैं, डलवाए और निकल गए।
बड़ा सवाल यहाँ पर खड़ा ये होता है कि 400 रुपये का जो पेट्रोल डलवाया निशांक ने, उसके पीछे एक वजह हो सकती है कि इतना पेट्रोल अगर स्कूटी में डलाया जा रहा है तो शायद निशांक अपने गृह गांव जो है सिवनी मालवा वहाँ जाना चाहता हो, लेकिन नहीं, वो यहाँ से सिर्फ 6 किलोमीटर आगे चला सड़क पर अपनी गाड़ी खड़ी की, उसे लॉक किया और उसके बाद ट्रैक पर जाकर पहुंचा और ट्रैक पर उसकी लाश मिली। उसके बाद एक मैसेज आया उसके पिता को, जिसके बाद सारे सवाल खड़े हुए और एसआईटी की जांच सरकार को बिठानी पड़ी। भोपाल के पास बड़खेड़ा पुलिस स्टेशन पर ये स्कूटी खड़ी हुई है। ये स्कूटर जो है यही स्कूटर है जिसको लेकर निशांक राठौर रेलवे ट्रैक पर पहुंचा था। सड़क पर ये गाड़ी खड़ी की गई, इसके बाद इस गाड़ी को लेकर गाड़ी को सड़क पर छोड़कर निशांक रेलवे ट्रैक पर पहुंचा और वहां उसकी लाश मिली। लेकिन एक बड़ा सवाल खड़ा हुआ है इस बात का कि ये गाड़ी जब पुलिस को मिली तो लॉक थी, इसकी चाबी की पुलिस तलाश कर रही है। एक बड़ा सवाल खड़ा हुआ है इस स्कूटर को लेकर, इस स्कूटी को लेकर कि इसकी चाबी नहीं थी, पुलिस को ताला तोड़ना पड़ा और उसके बाद पुलिस इस गाड़ी को लेकर, जो कि किराए की बताई जा रही है, इस गाड़ी को लेकर फिर थाने में इस वक्त यहाँ पर खड़ी है। लेकिन एक सवाल पुलिस के सामने है कि आखिर इस स्कूटी की चाबी, निशांक राठौर की स्कूटी की चाबी कहाँ गई। भोपाल से होशंगाबाद के बीच बड़खेड़ा रेलवे स्टेशन पर यही वो रेलवे का ट्रैक है जहां बीटेक छात्र निशांक राठौर की लाश मिली थी। 6:05 पर इस ट्रैक से जीटी एक्सप्रेस निकली थी और 6:13 पर साईनगर शिरडी एक्सप्रेस, और साईनगर शिरडी एक्सप्रेस के लोको पायलट ने ही स्टेशन मास्टर को, बड़खेड़ा स्टेशन के स्टेशन मास्टर को यह सूचना दी थी कि ट्रैक पर एक शव मिला है, एक ट्रेन की कटिंग हुई है, ट्रेन से कटिंग हुई है, और उसके बाद ही ये पता चला कि निशांक की मौत हुई है। किन हालात में ये जांच हो रही है, एसआईटी जांच कर रही है। लेकिन बड़ा सवाल ये है कि 6 बजे तक निशांक राठौर जिंदा था और उसके पहले अपने पिता को मैसेज कर रहा था, धार्मिक आधार पर धमकाने वाला मैसेज भी उसमें पहुंचा। इसके अलावा उसने सोशल मीडिया पर भी पोस्ट शेयर किया।
मनोज शर्मा नाउ जॉइन्स अस लाइव। मनोज, आपने जाके उस स्पॉट को भी देखा और जहां पर ये बाइक खड़ी थी वो भी देखा। कई सारे सवाल हैं जो कि मन में उठते हैं। देयर आर अ लॉट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस दैट इमर्ज, especially from the petrol bunk to the time when his body was found at the railways, on the railway tracks. The distance is just 6 kilometers, but there is nearly about 50 minutes time. What transpired becomes very, very curious and interesting, because if he had come there with a plan or plot to end his life, why did he fill 400 rupees worth of petrol? And was he also in the direction to his native place, his village?
Yes, Anand, these are two very important questions which has, you have rightly pointed out, because, he purchased 400 rupees, almost 4-liter petrol from that petrol pump. And from that petrol pump, the spot where he reached, where he allegedly committed suicide, as the police was pointing out earlier. So that spot is just 6 kilometers away. So if somebody is going by scooty to that spot, it will take hardly 10 minutes. But if you look at the timeline, the crucial timeline, he was at the petrol pump at approximately at around 5 p.m. and as per the timeline, and if you look at the, when GT Express was passing through that track, when that Shirdi Express was passing through that track, if you look at the timeline, then you can understand almost 50 minutes, more than 50 minutes are there. So this time lapse, what he was doing, if it takes just hardly 10 minutes to go there from that petrol pump to that spot where he allegedly committed suicide, so what he was doing in the remaining 40 minutes, that is one question. And the second most important question, and we have spoken to Madhya Pradesh Home Minister and Dr. Narottam Mishra, he was saying that message, Sir Tan Se Juda message, that message, in fact, he had gone through one article on his own mobile regarding that Sir Tan Se Juda message. Then he edited it and then he sent that message to his father. So we are saying he had done it, but nobody knows who has done it, because there is 50 minutes are there, and there are questions about these 50 minutes, what he was doing, who was accompanying him, because if you look at this CCTV footage on the petrol pump till 5:09 p.m. he was there, he was all alone, he was not accompanied by anyone on that petrol pump. But after that, what happened? And that is the question they are trying to find out the answers.
And he also had access to his phone all the while.
They have also
He had access to his phone all the time. So if he was in distress, why didn't he call his family? Also, did his family know that he was heading out so far out of Bhopal, 30-35 kilometers out of Bhopal?
Yeah, we have been told by his family that in fact his sisters were there in Bhopal on Sunday, on that day, on that crucial day when he allegedly committed suicide. His sisters were here in Bhopal. So his father asked him to meet his sisters. That is a statement by his father. But the second important question, as it was pointed out by Home Minister Narottam Mishra, they have also recovered one laptop. They have already recovered this mobile phone, and other recovery which were made from that spot is, filter of a cigarette. Who smoked it? Nobody knows. Filter of a cigarette, then slippers of this guy Nishank, and slippers. Nishank. Okay, so these are the only three recoveries. Slippers were also recovered from that spot. So that is the question. That is why these things, laptop and mobile phone, they have been sent to the cyber department, and we are still waiting for the report from the cyber experts.
Right.
In fact, they will go through
Manoj, I'll come back to you.
Equipments.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you on the aspect of where was this bike exactly parked. And did he make any other calls or receive any other calls between 5:09 p.m. and 6 p.m. that day? We'll talk about that. But in the meantime, you spoke to the key man on the railway tracks who monitor and patrol the morning shift. And you also spoke to the Madhya Pradesh Home Minister Narottam Mishra. Let's listen into both and then I'll come back to you.
आप रविवार के दिन की घटना थी?
हाँ, रविवार के दिन की घटना थी। हम तो सुबह 6 बजे आते हैं।
तो फिर कब तक आप ये ट्रैक देख के गए थे?
हम 10 बजे तक देखते हैं।
उसके बाद ये आपको ये वाली बात कब पता चली कि इस ट्रैक पे किसी ने खुदकुशी कर ली? अगले दिन पता चली है?
हाँ, अगले दिन पता चला सुबह 6 बजे।
अच्छा, तो उस समय कौन सी गाड़ी निकलती है?
उस समय पुष्पक वगैरह निकलती है।
जीटी भी आती है?
हाँ, जीटी पुष्पक।
और जो साई एक्सप्रेस
शानी भोपाल तो हबीबगंज तक चलती हो
तो मतलब जब आप ट्रैक देख रहे थे तो उस समय आपको अगले दिन जाके उस ट्रैक पे कहीं इस बार दिखा है, सबूत दिखे कुछ की कुछ ब्लड खून?
नहीं, हमें तो नहीं दिखे। जैसे पुलिस वाले वगैरह थे वो रिकवरी कर रहे थे वहाँ पर।
साथ खुद डॉक्टर मिश्रा हैं। सर, क्या इसमें आपकी मतलब एसआईटी बनाने की जरूरत आपको क्यों पड़ी?
कई चीज़ें भ्रम पैदा कर रही थी। उनके परिवार के जन जिस तरह से शंका कुशंका जाहिर कर रहे थे, क्योंकि जो साक्ष्य आ रहे थे, पीएम रिपोर्ट आ रही थी, वो भिन्न थी और आशंकाएं भिन्न थी। तो एसआईटी बन गई। अब दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो जाएगा। जो भी बिंदु आएगा एसआईटी में जांच में लिया जाएगा।
सर, वो सर तन से जुदा वो मैसेज मतलब कैसे आया?
ये 5:26 पर उसके फ़ोन के अंदर ये इस वाला जो आपने कहा है वो आर्टिकल देखा गया था और उसी